Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, AV to the 7th power. You know what we talk about here. All things law, true crime, a little bit of political debauchery. Wow. What a week with all things Woody. What a week with all things YSL. I'm in and out today with a quick update just to bring you guys up to speed with what's going on with Judge Glanville. Lead and I have been going live like legit every day for the last week and a half. We were even live last night. So girl's a little sleepy, traveling. You will notice that I'm not in my studio today. I am at a temporary office space for the day up here in Boston. And you know what? Can we give a shout out to the Celtics? You know, if y'all could drop a shamrock in the chat, that would be fantastic. Also, while you do that, hit the like button on your way in. I don't lock people out yet. I don't do that on this side just yet. But as you file in, give me a like. I think I work hard for it. What can we talk about today? So what are we going to expect? I'm going to bring up the Writ of Mandamus, okay? We went through it last night, but there is a portion that you guys wanted us to finish, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that. I also did a little bit of digging, a little bit of research on the person that wrote that affidavit, Lester Tate. So I'm going to kind of bring you guys up to speed on who Lester Tate is, why his opinion matters, why it was included in the Writ of Mandamus. We'll refresh you on what a Writ of Mandamus is, and we're going to go through all of that fun stuff. Also, I want to thank one of you guys who sent me a clip of Little Woody's attorney the day Little Woody was held in contempt. Right. And it is a pretty spicy clip. So we're going to watch that one together. And then I will get you guys a weekly recap video later this week and go from there. So before we go anywhere, let's see who we have in the building. Shout out to Audrey, who's in the chat. She says, good morning, AV. Here we go. Yes, there's a lot going on. Shout out to Ace, who says AV in the building. I'm here on a Friday, a summer Friday at that. Shout out to Regina, who says, hello, everyone. Another crazy day. It is. It definitely is. Shout out to Dan, who says AV, the social media machine. Yeah, I'm very productive in the morning. At night, not so much at night. But in the morning, I do my best. Shout out to Tiff. Good to see you on my side, Tiff. She says, good morning from Virginia. Good to see you. Erie's in here as well, who says, we are ready for you, AV. You've been holding it down here and on TLA's channel. Yeah, I've been all over the place. Owen, with the saying, what you mean? And Owen, that's actually a really good reminder. You guys have been asking us for the What You Mean merch. I finally got it up and running, tested out the merch myself, made sure it was good quality. So if you're interested in the What You Mean merch, we have a water bottle. I think there's like a phone holder, a notebook, a hat, the shirt itself. So if you're interested in any of that trial watch merch, the link is in the description box below. Kat, yes, it has. It has been crazy, this whole case. I mean, I can't sometimes, like, it's twists and turns. We even had infamous Miss Sylvia up last night, and she was able to give us a lot of tea. So if you haven't seen TLA's stream, go over to his side. I think we did 5.5 hours last night on just the writ itself. And then Miss Sylvia, I think we spent an hour with her just asking her questions, and she was able to tell us what the inner workings of the courtroom look like. So it is insane. Yeah, shout out to Tatum. He did really good. Hey, Carrie. Good to see you, Carrie. Granny of 5 says, what you mean, AV? What you mean? Love it. I'm happy you guys are hitting the like button. Kat says, AV, have you seen Boots' reply in Fanny's motion? Yes. I am going to be recording a video on that a little bit later today, and I will have that up for you guys tonight. So you'll see my whole reaction on that. Forever Always says, AV, I love your work. Hi, Candy. Good to see you, Candy. Carrie says, hey, I don't know what AV stands for. It's actually the first 2 letters of my name. That's just what everybody calls me. So hopefully that answers the question. Look at Dianara. Look at D with the first super of the day. Says, let's go, AV. All right. With that being said, let's get started. I'm going to do a quick ad read. You guys know I've been rocking with Aura for a little bit. It's one of the first brand deals I've ever gotten. What is Aura? It's a cybersecurity company. They protect your data. They protect your credit. And what I love about them is they stop the goddamn robocalls, okay? Do you guys, I cannot stand robocalls. I can't stand them. But installing the app that Aura has will allow you to cut those robocalls in half. It's like $14 a month, totally worth it. You could try it free for 2 weeks. Link in the description box below. All right, don't forget to hit the like button as you guys are popping in. With that being said, I don't like to wait. We're going to get right into content. So why don't we start with bringing you guys up to speed on where we are with the case and what we've seen thus far. I did a midweek recap for you guys yesterday. So we talked a little bit about Monday, and we talked about 2 motions that were filed. One, Brian Steele filed a motion for the judge to recuse himself. Kayla Bumpus also filed a motion to quash and a second motion for the judge to recuse himself. Judge Glanville on Monday denied both of those motions, right? Both of those motions were denied. So, the rest of the day, we had another interesting thing with the prosecution, because Woody was being a jerk on the stand. He wasn't going to give them any information, so the prosecution had to change tactics. What tactic did they change? They basically had to move from asking him questions to actually pulling up the witness testimony and the videos from when he was talking to detectives. Now, what's the issue with that? If you're going to use those pieces of evidence, some of the information within it needs to be redacted, right? What is a redaction? That means that some of the information is not relevant. So they have to parse through every single interview. And some of these interviews, I think in total, it's like 9 or 12 hours of content to go through. They've got to go through all of that. So rather than have the jury and Woody wait in court for all of that to happen, this week, the prosecution and the defense team have been going back and forth on what information is coming in and what information is not coming in. So that's really what you saw on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday was Juneteenth, so we had a holiday, we had a break from court. And then yesterday we had more of that evidentiary stuff going on, the back and forth, what's coming in, what's not coming in. We're seeing more of that today, which is why Lead and I are not streaming on his side. Quite frankly, that stuff can be really boring and really dry, and we don't want you guys to sit through that. We're waiting for Woody to hit the stand again, which I believe is about Monday or Tuesday. And if Woody hits the stand, then we're going to fire it up, crank up the stream, and have you guys jump in for that. Now, leading to yesterday, after the proceeding ended, we got a bombshell document that was filed. And that document is what? It's a writ of mandamus. And it comes from attorney Weinstein. This is Yak Gotti's attorney. Attorney Weinstein filed this document late yesterday. And what it is, and I've explained this to you guys, you remember the 3 steps that I talk about when you need to get something escalated in the legal system. You start in trial court, and let's say that there's a decision that you don't think is fair or right, or the judge made a mistake. You want somebody to look at that, so you go to step 2, which is the Court of Appeals, right? These motions to have Judge Glanville recuse, both of them were filed, and Judge Glanville is the one who needs to make the decision on whether it's going to move forward to the Court of Appeals. He denied it, right? And they can't get it to the Court of Appeals unless Judge Glanville approves a certificate of immediate review, which he denied as well. So he is not allowing the recusal to move forward in the process. So you can't get from level 1 to level 2, right? So they're essentially stuck. Weinstein is trying to skip from level 1 to level 3, which is going to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of Georgia is actually the government body that was able to keep Brian Steele from being jailed, because it's not that they overturned Judge Glanville's decision, but they stayed everything. So they've kind of pretty much froze the case until the end of this proceeding, which is like 2025, right? You hear Judge Glanville all the time. You guys want to appeal me? Appeal me after. You want to appeal my decisions and my rulings? Appeal it after this case is closed, at the end of it, at the conclusion, right? Which is not until 2025. So if we're going to be here from now until 2025, guess what? He's going to make more mistakes. There's going to be way more that happens. So is it fair for this guy to stop everything in its tracks, right? That's basically his argument, is I'm not going to stop everything in its tracks for us to, squabble over these, small decisions of whether something is right or wrong. That's justified in his mind, apparently. But when you have secret meetings, ex parte meetings that are against the law, right? You're not supposed to do them. And there's Brady material that can explicate some of these clients, so for the defense. You're also breaking the law by doing that, because that information by law, the prosecution is supposed to give to the defense team. So now we're putting, the arms behind these attorneys' backs because they're not able to do their jobs rightfully for their clients. So Weinstein files this writ of mandamus to skip to level 1, from level 1 to level 3, right? So we showed that to you guys yesterday. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. And I will take you a little bit deeper into the document because there it is. Okay. Open with Google Docs. Sorry, y'all. I haven't streamed on my side in so long. And it's so weird not to have my soundboard. I want to hit my buttons. Let's do this. Let's go to here. Bam! There it is. Here it is, guys. So this is in the Supreme Court of the state of Georgia. And look at the top of it. We have Diamante Kendrick against Chief Judge Glanville. All right, so we're going straight into this document, and again, we covered it on lead side last night, so I'm not gonna go too far in. But what I will do is take you to a really important part, and that is, we know what the arguments are. We know that Judge Glanville has been making some unfair rulings, kind of covering up the fact that he had a secret meeting, breaking the law by not sharing the information of the meeting with the defense team. On top of that, he's also not sharing the transcript of the meeting, not the full transcript. He wants to share a piece of the transcript. If you're a defense attorney, what are you supposed to do with the piece? And what are you protecting, Judge Glanville? What are you protecting in there? So we know that he's covering something up. And it could be inferred that he's covering up some of his own mistakes. He's covering up for the prosecution. He was so gung-ho on finding who the mole was, all of those things. Sorry, guys, this is an 83-page document. And I'm trying to get us to Exhibit B. So I want to talk about a very important person that's included in this document, and that is Lester Tate, okay? Sorry, guys. That's page 35. And I'll tell you a little bit about Lester Tate and what I found out about him before we look at what his affidavit says. Okay. Wow, this thing is meaty. Okay, here we go. Rule NICE, certificate of service. Okay, exhibit. Nope, it's Exhibit C. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Okay, this is going to be good. All right, so first things first, I want you to see this. This is the Supreme Court of Georgia, their docketing system. So this document was filed yesterday, and I want you to see that it is officially in their system. The case status is docketed, okay? There's no judgments that have been filed yet. It has all the attorney's information on here, and it shows when it was filed. It looks like it was filed yesterday at about 3:04 p.m. So while it hadn't hit the mainstream media until about 5 p.m. Eastern time, but it looks like this was filed around 3 p.m. yesterday. So I just wanted to fact check and make sure that we were all good on the docket part of it, but that's all set. Now, who is Lester Tate, right? We're going to share this tab. I went to the American Bar Association, and let me explain something. This is a big deal if you have a bio, and you guys know I have a PR background, right? If you have a bio on the American Bar Association's website, you're kind of a big deal, right? So I'm going to read you guys Lester's bio to see who he is. I can tell you I'm 34 years old, and this man has been practicing law longer than I've been alive. Okay. The American Bar Association, number one, is like the cream of the crop when it comes to attorneys, right? They are the ones that set the rules. They set the rules for the professional, the model rules of professional conduct, which is ethics. They write those. They actually have a hand in writing judicial ethic canons as well. They have, they set the tone when it comes to the country as far as how lawyers are barred, right? You have to be a member of the bar, right? They set the standard. They also set the standard for law schools. So they actually approve law schools to be ABA accredited. That's what that means. The American Bar Association is a big deal. So the fact that I saw his name here, I was like, wow, this guy is a big deal, right? So I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit so you guys can follow along with me. We're going to accept all cookies. And let's talk a little bit about Lester. So who is Lester? So Lester is a trial lawyer who served as the 48th president of the State Bar of Georgia, right? So not only is he involved in the American Bar Association, he's involved with the Georgia State Bar, right? So we know he's practiced law for a really long time, and he's getting these accolades not only from the American Bar Association, but also from the Georgia Bar Association, right? So let's go back in and see what else they have here. Since 1996, he has practiced as a member of Yak and Tate, Georgia's oldest continuing law firm. Let's put some emphasis on that. Let's put some hot sauce on that. Lester Tate is working for the oldest law firm in the state of Georgia, meaning that it's been around for a really long time. He's been around for a really long time. So I can understand tactically, strategically, why his opinion would matter and why Weinstein would want his opinion to be included in this affidavit. On its face, if you don't know anything about this guy, it seems a little strange, because why would a random affidavit be included in something that's going to the Supreme Court of Georgia when it comes to Judge Glanville's actions? Man, I'm cooking. If y'all don't hit that like button for me, please, like seriously, hit that like button for me. Get this out to more people, because it's already getting good, and we're on sentence 2. We're only on sentence 2. And I'm going to zoom in a tad bit more. Okay. So he has spent his entire professional career as a courtroom lawyer, having tried over 100 civil and criminal cases to verdict, and appeared in over 30 times in the state and federal appellate courts. So he has quite a bit of experience in trial courts and in the Court of Appeals. He served as the ABA House Delegate since 2012, is a past president of both the Southeastern chapter of the American Board of Trial Advocates and the Georgia chapter. He is currently the American Board of Trial Advocates National Treasurer. Lester is a fellow in the International Society of Barristers, the International Academy of Trial Lawyers, and a life fellow of the American Bar Foundation. He has 2 grown children. Lester's interests include golf, sports plays, fitness, audiobooks. He also avidly follows college football, especially his beloved Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Atlanta Braves. Okay, so they tell us a little bit about Lester, but I really wanted you guys to see that Lester, he comes with a pretty esteemed background, right? Now, let's look at the law firm that he comes from. So here's a picture of our guy, Lester. He's an attorney. He's at Atkins and Tate. And, you know, it kind of gives you some more information as far as his bio, right? What are his core practice areas? He's practiced in personal injury, wrongful death, truck accidents, products liability, workers' comp, car accidents, criminal defense, that's important, and attorney discipline. These 2 right here, criminal defense and attorney discipline, that's important for us to remember as we read through his affidavit, because it looks like he has quite a bit of experience, particularly in those practice areas. Now, I'm not going to go through his bio again, because I believe it's also in this document. So we're not going to go too far into it, but it shows, you know, it gives you some of the experience that he has here. He sits on several boards. He's super involved in the legal space in Georgia. And it also shows, like, you know, what he's done in the past. These are pretty esteemed things. This guy's got a ton of accolades, right? These are some of the other attorneys he works with. But you can tell, like, if this is one of the oldest law firms in the state of Georgia, wow, you know, he's coming with some big guns. Now, we have some background on Lester, so that's good. But I'm going to take a quick super chat break, read a few of these, and then we will get into the document. Shout out to Audrey, who sends $10. Thank you so much, Audrey. She says Trumps and bumps 2024. Thank you so much, Audrey. Shout out to Hooch Tarantino. Says AV with the T. Yeah, you know, today I tried to, I don't know if you guys caught the stream last night, but it was rough. Here's what happened. I am at a, it's not a WeWork, but it's one of those companies that are like that, and it's temporary office space. So we streamed pretty late last night, and yesterday was 95 degrees in Boston. Guys, they cut the AC off in this building at 6 p.m. So the whole time I was sitting in that room, like baking, just baking. And the temperature kept going up. My hair started frizzing up. People are like, oh my God, you look rough, like sweating, all types of shenanigans. I was just like, you know what? Can I win? Can I win, please? You know what I mean? Like, can no one bother me about how frizzy my hair looks? So this morning I was like, you know what? I'm just going to braid it back, wear a tee, make sure I'm sitting in an ice cold room. So that way that does not happen again. So good to see you, Hooch. Thank you so much for the super. And shout out to for always, forever, for life. She says, this judge is being a bully. He knows he's wrong. He does. He does. And with that being said, guys, let's actually go to this document and see what Lester has to say. You know, I wanted to give you some background on Lester, who he is, why his opinion should matter in something like this, right? Now let's go and see what Lester has to say. Oop, we're doing the wrong one. Let's share this tab instead. Okay, here we go. Affidavit of Lester Tate III. Comes now Lester Tate III, personally appearing before the undersigned, and who, upon being sworn, states as follows. I'm over the age of 18. I make this sworn testimony under oath. I'm suffering from no legal disabilities, and I am competent to make this affidavit. Said affidavit being used on my personal knowledge of the facts herein set forth, I make this affidavit for legal purposes. I am the owner of the Cartersville-based law firm Lester Tate Group, LLC, DBA Atkin and Tate. Oh, he's the owner of the oldest law firm in the state of Georgia. Wow. I wish I had my soundboard. So now, not only do we know that this guy is accredited with the ABA, has a bio on their website, is the owner of the oldest law firm in Georgia. This is about to be good. This is about to be really good, guys. You're in for a treat. Let's see what he says here. As to my experience and qualifications, I show the court the following. I am a trial lawyer of 36 years, served as the 48th president of the State Bar of Georgia. I hold a bachelor's degree from the Georgia Institute of Technology and a law degree from the University of South Carolina. I have spent my entire professional career as a courtroom lawyer, having tried over 100 civil and criminal cases to verdict. I have been inducted to the American Board of Trial Advocates as one of the nation's most prestigious trial lawyer organizations, with the rank of advocate because of my extensive courtroom experience. I've previously served as the president of the Southeastern chapter of the American Board of Trial Advocates, CBOTA, president of the Georgia chapter of ABOTA, and a national treasurer of ABOTA. Additionally, I'm a fellow of the International Society of Barristers, the International Academy of Trial Lawyers, and a senior fellow of Litigation Counsel of America. I am licensed to practice law in Georgia and admitted to practice in a number of courts, including the Supreme Court of the United States. Okay, Now, let me stop for a second because this is a big deal what Lester is just telling us. There's not every attorney can bring cases to the Supreme Court. Number one, you need to be extremely skilled to do that. And number two, Joe Schmo off the street just can't walk into the Supreme Court with a case. That's not how it works. To be able to walk in those halls means that number one, you've put your time in, and number two, you know what you're doing. You really have to know what you're doing. That is the highest court in this land, right? So if he's putting that in this affidavit, again, we're coming in with some heavyweight. We're coming in with some weight. So let's go back in because I'm already impressed with the fact that he can walk in those halls, right? Let's keep going. He says, including the Supreme Court of the United States, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, the U.S. District Court for the Northern and Middle Districts of Georgia, and all Georgia state courts. I have been admitted to pro hac vice in other jurisdictions and have never been subject to any discipline action in any state bar concerning my provision of legal services in any court. That paragraph, that whole fourth paragraph is like, listen, I'm a big deal. I know what I'm doing. I could practice pretty much everywhere. This is my experience. I'm qualifying my opinion here, right? Let's go to 5. He says, I served as a member, vice chair, and chair of the Georgia Judicial Qualifications Commission between the years of 2012 and 2016. Since 2016, I have regularly represented and advised Georgia judges from all classes of courts in cases involving judicial ethics and the application of the Code of Judicial Conduct to their service. Accordingly, I have developed a particular level of expertise with all aspects of the Code of Judicial Conduct, including provisions which relate to ex parte communications by trial judges and standards for recusal. Ooh, that paragraph is bad. Bad in a good way. That paragraph is cold. Do you see what's about to happen? Do you guys see the setup? We're on page 2 out of 6. Do you see the setup? He's like, not only am I an esteemed trial attorney, not only am I shout out to fuck them kids. I thought that was lead for a second. That's lineage. That's heritage. It's tradition. Not only am I an amazing attorney, not only have I been in practice for 36 years, not only am I the owner of the oldest law firm in Georgia, not only can I do all of this in the Supreme Court, the 11th Circuit, any courthouse in Georgia. That's who this guy is. Not only have I done all those things, I've also sat on a board to write the rules for judges. I know those rules like the back of my hand. And Judge Glanville, I know a thing or two about ex parte communications. Guys, let's go in. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. Let's go back in and see what the next paragraph holds. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Okay. Further, my civil and criminal experience has provided me with extensive insight into issues which may arise at trial and how those might be handled. Wow, I have not attended any of the trial in the state of Georgia versus Jeffrey Williams at all in Fulton County Superior Court. I have watched various video recordings of the proceedings, including the exchange between the Fulton County Superior Court Chief Judge Oral Glanville and trial attorney Brian Steele, in which Steele raised the issue of an ex parte meeting with a witness, the witness's lawyer, and prosecutors. This in-court exchange ultimately led to Judge Glanville holding Steele in contempt of court, an order which has now been appealed to the Georgia Supreme Court and stay pending resolution of an appeal. Okay, so taking a moment here, So Lester is now saying, okay, I'm qualifying myself. I'm letting you know everything about me. But in particular, I'm about to give you my opinion. And what is my opinion about? My opinion is about the ex parte communication and holding Brian Steele in contempt. Now, the USU has a question and says, oh, this is Steele's homie. Do me a favor, guys. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys think that this man knows Steele personally. It's probably somebody he's cool with. He's been around the block for a really long time, and so is Steele. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this is someone that Steele is cool with, like a colleague that's coming to his aid. Or put a 2 in the chat if you think that this is just someone that was concerned about Judge Glanville and what was happening. And so far, I'm going to give you guys a few seconds. So far, I'm seeing 1s. Tammy says they share DNA. It says 2. I saw 2 and said that was impartial. He's impartial. Jack is being bad and it's like 3. I'm not giving you any of the answers. Curly says 2. Mango says 2. Shiloh says 1 and 2. Okay. Both maybe. I'm undecided yet because I want to keep reading and see what his argument is going to be in this affidavit, because it's not every day that you get big guns like this to come and support you, when something happens. So for them to have this is huge. Shout out to Miss Crotty Shetty with $10. And she says, for the pure love of the game. Thank you so much, Miss Crotty Shetty. 1,000 people in here. I haven't looked at my likes, but make sure you hit the like button on the way in. I'm thinking of locking y'all out. I don't know. I'm still nice. Thank you so much, Miss Crotty Shetty. It's good to see you. She has been rocking with me forever, guys. Like, it's probably one of my longest running subs. So it's good to see you over here, Miss Crotty Shetty. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to Raymond with $5. He says, today's goal is to try to get AV over 35K subs. She's at 29.6 and needs a weekend celebration. I'll call a friend or sign one up myself. She only needs, 400. Freeman, thank you. That was really sweet. Yeah, guys, listen, I've had a lot of fast growth. I'm also working really hard while studying for the bar exam. That's actually why I'm in Boston, is for bar exam boot camp. I'm super passionate about the law. I like teaching you guys too, because before I went to law school and, pre-law in college, I didn't know how this stuff works. And I find it so fascinating when we can apply it to something that's like happening in real time, like, what's happening to Young Thug, So Raymond, thank you. I really appreciate that. And to all the new people that are here, thank you for being here. You're going to love it here. Trust me. And I'm just trying to expand this brand. I really am. I treat YouTube as a business. And, to hear you say that, Raymond, means a lot. So thank you. And again, guys, please share the content. When you like the content, the algorithm's going to push it out. And maybe we can accomplish that goal that Raymond's talking about. Thank you so much. Shout out to Sean, who became a member. Welcome to my community, sis. You're going to love it here. Shout out to Coach B, the CEO, with $10. He says, you and TLA are doing a great job covering this case from all sides. It was great to see the infamous Sylvia give her firsthand perspective yesterday. Yeah, she was up there. We had her up for like an hour and a half. Lead was so interested in what she had to say. It was very hard for me to get a word in and ask her some questions. But I think, all of you guys are really fascinated to get that firsthand experience. She has been in those courtrooms for like 2 years. They saw some comments on some other things that she's been involved with that I'm not going to comment on. But, I'm just acknowledging that I did see it. But it was good to get her perspective and to hear what was going on. So I agree with you, the CEO, and thank you so much. Yeah, Lead and I we've been working really hard on this to get you guys content, to get you guys information as fast as possible, and hang out with y'all as well. Like, we love this stuff. Like, we really, really enjoy being content creators and really enjoy the community that we've created, on both sides. 90% of you guys found me through him. you know, and it's great. You know, I've been working with him for 2 years, and I can't tell you how much fun this has been. And, you know, he's really like become like one of my best friends. I spend so much time with him. And, you know, we spend time with you guys. You know, somebody came up last night on the panel and was just like, you guys are like family. And that really hit home to a lot of people. So thank you, Coach B. Really appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Sherry across the pond. She's across the pond and sends me, I think that's euros or pounds. We always get confused with it. But thank you so much. Sherry sends a $20 super sticker. I appreciate that, sis. Shout out to Candy Yates, who says, whoo, this is so juicy. It's been juicy all week. It's been juicy all week. And guys, I'm going to get back into it because we're about to get into the story, right? He's qualified everything. This guy's walked the halls of the Supreme Court, can take a case in there if he wants to, is looking at this from the outside perspective. And it's also like, hey, I know the judicial rules like the back of my hand. So we're going to see what he's about to say. I cannot wait. Shout out to Mango Gelato with a $19.99 super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Mango Gelato looks really good, by the way. What's y'all's favorite gelato? Your favorite gelato flavor? Mine is lemon, but that looks amazing. I would love to try that. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Darth Smidius is here with $9.99. It says, what you mean? The merch is out, guys. And, you know, hopefully Little Woody doesn't go live today. You know what? I might actually do a video on that. People have been asking me, like, what does it mean? What you mean? What does it mean if a sworn witness is out there? He's not saying anything. A sworn witness is on social media. This dude's TikTok is blowing up right now. He just started it last weekend. Woody's TikTok. He has like 3 million views on one of his TikToks. It's insane. He's got another one with like 2 million views. I think on Monday he was live on Instagram. You guys spammed us and told us that he was live. I went to his live and we were trying to get him on the show. But that's the thing. Is Woody going to talk? Because half the time when he goes live, he's not saying anything. He's just kind of like, he's in the pool, you know, he's playing basketball, he's over here, he's over there. You know, he's not really saying anything. So I think, you know, and everybody's been saying this, Woody's a lot smarter than people think he is. But I think he's trolling in a sense. Like, maybe I could say something. Or, you know, I have the power to say something, but I haven't said anything. I mean, we can argue that he said some things in the past that are recorded that we're all suffering through this week because he's not saying anything on the stand. But we will see. So thank you so much, Darth Smidius. And then lastly, shout out to Kat Not Williams. Kat is doing a great job on this case too, guys. You should check her out. Her channel is also growing. I can see she's also passionate about the law. And she's always been supporting me. I did a collab with Kat earlier this year. We talked about the Jonathan Majors case. That was probably one of the first, you know, I don't do many of those here on my channel, but just know that you get a huge cosign from me if you guys want to check out Kat's content. And if you got a gifted membership from Kat, say thank you, because I'm this close. I'm this close to starting to lock people out. I learned from the best. I don't do it yet, but we'll get there. Thank you so much, Kat. And then look, one of my faves, Cognizance, since $13.99 in Canadian bucks. She says AV7 bless. Another one of my day ones. I appreciate you guys so much. All right. That being said, took a little bit of a super chat break. Let's dive into this doc. Whew. Are y'all ready? Let's go. Let's see what Lester has to say. Okay. So we know. And just I'll go to the last sentence. He says, this in-court exchange ultimately led to Judge Glanville holding Steele in contempt of court, an order which has now been appealed to the Georgia Supreme Court and stayed pending resolution of the appeal. 8, I have specifically reviewed the order holding Steele in contempt of court attached as Exhibit A and the show cause order issued by Judge Glanville directing parties to the ex parte meeting to show cause why they should not be held in contempt. The opinions I express in this affidavit are based on a review of those video clips and a review of the attached exhibits. I express no opinion in this affidavit that is based on any ruling made by Judge Glanville. Instead, my opinions herein are solely based on his conduct in failing to comply with the Code of Judicial Conduct. All right, so he's watched the video clips. He's looked at two documents. Those documents, again, are the contempt of court of Brian Steele and the show cause order issued by Judge Glanville. Y'all remember what the show cause order is? That is the 25th, this upcoming Tuesday. He wants to have a proceeding in which everyone that was in that secret meeting must show up, or they will be held in contempt in court as well. Anybody that was in that meeting that does not show up, because he wants to know who the mole was that much. We're now having, the jury's not going to show up on Tuesday. He's having this show cause order. Like, he's having that hearing. All right, Lester, tell us what you think. Based on the show cause order in Exhibit B, it is now apparent that an ex parte meeting took place in Judge Glanville's chambers on the morning of June 10th, 2024. This meeting is specifically referenced in the show cause order, in which Judge Glanville directs all participants in that meeting to appear. Since I do not know for certain what took place in that meeting or why it was necessary, I am assuming, for the purposes of this affidavit only, that there was a legitimate purpose for the meeting that is allowed by the Code of Judicial Conduct. Rule 2.9 of the Code of Judicial Conduct recognizes that from time to time, there may be a need for ex parte communication. So he's being fair here. There are very rare instances where a judge can have an ex parte meeting. You know, we say it, sometimes you guys will hear us talk in absolutes, like they're never allowed. That's not true. They're allowed in some circumstances, and there are some exceptions that can apply. He's about to give us the official rule of what that looks like. Okay, so let's look at what the Code of Judicial Conduct reads. And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more for y'all, if you're following along at home. Okay, it says, A, judges shall accord to every person who has a legal interest in a proceeding or that person's lawyer the right to be heard according to law. Judges shall not initiate, permit, or consider ex parte communications or consider other communications made to them outside the presence of the parties or their lawyers concerning a pending proceeding or impending matter, subject to the following exceptions. So like I said, guys, there's times where you can do this. Here's an exception here. 1, where circumstances require ex parte communications are authorized for scheduling, administrative purposes, or emergencies that do not deal with substantive matters or issues on the merits. So you can do it under those circumstances. So like if it has to do with scheduling, right, then you can have an ex parte communication. If it's for administrative purposes, like if it's something, that involves a case, I don't know if it's like the documents or something that you need to talk about, something that's admin related, then you could do it. That's a second exception. Or emergencies that do not deal with the substantive matter. I don't know, like what if a jury member dies or something like that? Then you can have an ex parte communication, right? Something like that, because that's an emergency, right? All right, so he can do it, and we're going to go to A here, and it says the judge reasonably believes that no party will gain a procedural, substantive, or tactical advantage as a result of the ex parte communication. All right, so judge, you can do it as long as no one will gain an advantage as a result of the ex parte communication. Now, let's break that down for a second. So that's one of the things that Judge Glanville needed to do. Okay, so you have the prosecution team and this this secret meeting with Little Woody and all these people. 14 people is what Caleb Bumpus said, right? Now, is it a tactical advantage because it benefits the prosecution, right? No defense attorneys or their clients were in that room. So if we're looking at this rule and applying it, it looks like we already have a strike. It looks like we have a strike here because there is a tactical advantage already. That tactical advantage is the prosecution being able to, have this conversation with this guy, to get him to testify, coerce him to testify. He says he's going to say that he killed Nut, that he did kill Nut. He said that in that secret meeting. If he's saying that, why are all these other defendants coming into court every day? Right? The shenanigans. Let's go back in and continue. So we got a strike there. Now let's look at B. It says the judge can have the ex parte meeting also if he makes a provision promptly to notify all other parties of the substance of the ex parte communication and gives the parties an opportunity to respond. You have strike 2. Judge Glanville did not do that. He did not tell Brian Steele and the other defense lawyers that this meeting was happening at all. And then when Brian questioned him on it, Brian actually asked him this question. He said, what's the substance of the meeting? What was the meeting about? The judge did not answer that question. Further, he did not give them an opportunity to respond. Oh, this is getting hot. So now you have Lester here, who has all this great experience, knows what's going on, knows the law. He just gave us the rule. Now let's see what Lester has to say as far as his opinion. Lester says, this rule, however, also requires on unequivocal terms that any judge who has an ex parte contact must promptly notify all other parties of that communication and give them an opportunity to respond. Failure to follow this procedure is a violation of the Code of Judicial Conduct, irrespective of the reason for the communication and regardless of what the contact occurs. In other words, the judge must give prompt notice of communications that happen in trial and in some other context than outside of trial. So Lester is telling us right here in paragraph 12 that Judge Glanville broke the law. Judge Glanville broke the Code of Judicial Conduct. He's telling you right here. He says, I would further note that Rule 2.9 has implications beyond judicial discipline. Ooh! The heading of the rule is assuring fair hearings and averting ex parte communications. Therefore, a violation of this rule is not just something that a judge could get in trouble for. It is also a rule that assures that a party to get it. Sorry, let me say that again. It is also a rule that assures that the parties to a case get a fair hearing. Oh my gosh. So he said it's not something that a judge can just get in trouble for. This is a miscarriage of justice because the parties involved are not getting a fair hearing. That's a sting. That is a sting. Because you know who's going to be reading what I'm reading you guys right now? The 6 justices. Is it 6? The justices in the Supreme Court of Georgia. Let me go back. Let me show you who's going to be reading this. Let me show you who's going to be reading this. These people right here. These people right here. These judges are going to be reading the exact same document that I'm showing you right now. You see that panel? That's what's going to happen. So all of these people higher on the totem pole than Judge Glanville are going to look at his conduct. And they're going to know that there's a miscarriage of justice because these guys are not getting a fair hearing. Man, I don't know. They might actually swoop in and stop this case. And I'm going to ask you guys what you think. I have a little bit of time. I might drop the link for a few of you guys to come up. But wow, this is what's happening right now. Let's go back. Let's go back. But wow. All right, Lester's cooking. So let's see what else Lester has. Okay. So we have miscarriage of justice. 14. In reviewing the video of the exchange between Judge Glanville and Attorney Steele, there was no disclosure of the ex parte meeting, which is now the subject of the show cause order. Indeed, quite the opposite takes place. Judge Glanville not only failed to disclose, he sought to keep others from disclosing and to punish those who might have already disclosed. Rule 211 provides that, oh, he has another rule. Judges shall disqualify themselves in any proceeding in which their impartiality might reasonably be questioned. Here, we have a judge who has failed to abide by a provision of the Code of Judicial Conduct designed to assure a fair hearing, and who also has actively attempted to conceal the meeting. In my opinion, to a reasonable degree of legal certainty, that's huge. This conduct legitimately calls into question the judge's impartiality, and assuming to be true, would require recusal. Again, I reach this conclusion based on Judge Glanville's actions, not any ruling that he has made in the course of this trial. Further affiant saith not Lester Tate III. Wow, guys. What do y'all think? They included that in the package that's going to the Supreme Court. When we have exhibits, usually exhibits are additional things that you need to add to your document that you're sending to the Supreme Court. So Exhibit A was the show cause order, I think. Exhibit B was something else. This was Exhibit C. So Weinstein included his affidavit, probably the judge's response to the affidavit, this document, I think there's a D. So this package is now being, it's in front of the Supreme Court. I started the stream by showing you that it has been received and docketed. So I don't know what's going to happen. That is really persuasive too, because he's used two rules that that Glanville broke. The first one was the ex parte meeting, and he artfully put together, like, here's how I believe he broke Rule 2.9. Then he goes, here's how I believe he broke Rule 211. 211 is the recusal part. He did not recuse himself. Shout out to Tippy. Further affiant saith not. Hey, he owns the oldest law. He owns the oldest law firm in Georgia. But respect, I'm not even going to make fun of that. I'm not even going to poke fun of that. But that was an interesting way to end the affidavit. So, oh my God, guys. And you know what I might do? Just because I want to look at it with fresh eyes, I really want to see what that looks like again. But before we go anywhere, I hear you guys saying Jay Electronica is in the chat. Is Jay Electronica in the chat? He liked one of my pictures the other day. I was just like, wow, I've got some big people watching me. I must be pretty good. All right, before we jump back in, because I do want to watch that clip again, I want to watch the exchange between Brian Steele and Judge Glanville, because that's going to give you the lens on which this attorney just looked at it from. Okay, so that's important. We're going to do that. Before we go anywhere, shout out to Meg with $50. She says, I love your opinions and your shows with TLA. Much love. Thank you so much, Meg. That's actually really, really generous of you. Super, super generous of you. And like I said, guys, these are long hours, but it's important because, this could be your brother. This could be your nephew. This could be your son. This could be women. Any of us could be in front of a judge that's going to make rulings like this, that is going to bend rules slightly. And is that okay? No, it's not. We already know the prison system is like corrupted beyond redemption. But at the same time, we also need to understand, like, this is happening, maybe not this, to this magnitude with like a RICO case. But miscarriages of justice happen across the country every day in every state. If you're an American, the state that you're sitting in, it happens. But what's beautiful about this is that you're seeing some of these attorneys galvanize around this. I think it's remarkable that they got Lester involved. And after hearing more about Lester's experience, now you can see that there are some ways to end corruption, right? Judge Glanville is going to keep going. Like, this stuff is going to continue to happen unless he is stopped. Glanville must be stopped. He's got to be stopped. But like, at least it should give folks some peace of mind or confidence that there are provisions to stop this type of stuff from happening. Even though they happen, there are ways around it. So Meg, I'm glad that you're liking my opinions and you're enjoying the show and the coverage, because we're not going to stop. We're going to keep our foot on the gas with this one. Shout out to Noble, who sends $10. Noble says, did Woody fire his lawyer because the judge forced him to testify? Noble, I was thinking about this before I went to bed last night, because infamous Miss Sylvia came up on the stream and she was talking a little bit more about, what happens behind the scenes, right? She shed some light on Woody's personality, how he doesn't trust people, some of the discord that's happened with him in the prosecution. At one point, somebody tried to touch his shoulder. He's like, don't fucking touch me, like stuff like that. We learned a little bit more about Woody. And, even she said it. Woody is a lot smarter than people think, because what he's doing is he's outsmarting the system. He's being defiant almost purposely. But at the same time, there's some injustices that happen to him. You're being coerced to testify. Imagine having, he's a career criminal. Apparently he has over 50 charges on his record. His rap sheet is longer than a lot of things. Now, you're a career criminal like that. You have experience with law enforcement. He said it himself on the stand. I'm going to say, and what I have done is I say what they want to hear so I can get out of a pickle or out of the situation. We've seen him, honestly, we're just going to say it. We've seen him snitching. We've seen him providing information to investigators, right? But career criminal doing it. Now, as far as Bumpus, what Sylvia said last night, there was one key fact that I don't think any of us knew. Bumpus had represented Woody before in the past. She's being wrapped into this thing, but the other thing that we learned, Noble, is that Bumpus doesn't even reside in the state of Georgia. She lives in Texas. So it's understandable why she would not want to be stuck on a case when she doesn't even live in the state. And not for nothing, attorneys make good money. But, if you got to get on a plane, I'm practically doing it myself, because between Atlanta and Boston, I'm on a plane every week. I'll be back on the plane in a few days going back down there. But it's expensive. It adds up. $400 every week. That's like what, $1,200 a month? But for her, the judge is like, I don't care that you don't live here. You got to come back because you were a part of that secret meeting. It also was revealed that she was not the mole. And Sylvia said that with certainty, that she was not the mole. As far as the firing, if that's the reason, I don't know. I don't know. There were some contentions there, but the other thing, and I'll land the plane, is that they had history. They've worked with each other in the past. So for him to fire her with all that history, and of course, he's had 53 charges against him in the past. And if she's represented him on some of those matters, we can speculate. Why do you guys think that she was fired? What do y'all think? Shout out to Madi, who has become a new member. I want to see what you guys think. Hi, Musa. Eve says Woody is setting the new precedents in Georgia law with this madness. He totally is. Sherry gives me a 1. What do y'all think? Why did he fire Bumpus? Noble says he must have been really mad. Zachary says they plan to fire her, she said in another channel. New Orleans lady. AV, if I was you, I wouldn't keep putting infamous Sylvia. I know. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. You already know, sis. Thank you for that reminder. Janelle says strategy. Dorothy says Bumpus did an interview with another vlogger who said Woody was trying to help her too. Wow. Cyber says, doesn't matter because she's still fired. Gigi says he wanted to help her. Who just said that? Granny of 5 says, Woody is playing his hand when firing an attorney in the middle of a trial. That is tactic. It's tactic. Okay. Jermaine says she wanted him to testify. Interesting. Huji says Woody was already having an issue with his original lawyer. Oh yeah, we're gonna watch that too. He doesn't like being stuck in jail or court with lawyers in general. All right, yeah, I've got that clip. All right, guys, let me read a few Cash Apps and then I want to show you 2 clips. We're gonna look at Woody's original lawyer that Friday having an altercation with Judge Glanville. Okay, this is before Woody got pled the 5th and came back that Monday, and we saw all the shenanigans. So I have that clip. We're gonna watch it. In addition, I want to go back to Brian Steele as well. So let me just read these real quick, and then we will jump right on into that. Make sure that we are up to date. Thank you guys for all the support as well. You know, I haven't streamed on my side in weeks, so it's really good to get some love over here. Shout out to Drew Beats. Drew Beats hit me with a $4 Cash App last night. Said, great job. I forgot to respond to you, so responding now. Thank you so much, Drew Beats. And for this one, he says, sends me $4 now. It says, I'm going to go grab a frap to enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy your frap. Thank you so much. Shout out to G Dubs with the $5. And she says, hey, AV, don't spend it all in one place. Trust me, I won't. Thank you. Shout out to E Capone with the 5. And he says, what it do? All right. I think I got all the Cash Apps. Thank you guys again for the support. You're asking for the Cash App tag. I believe it is there in the banner. It's the same thing. AV to the 7th power. All my stuff is the same, guys. It's the same handle. The only thing that's different is my Instagram. And that's because it got hacked last year. So that's the only thing. My handle is the same everywhere on all platforms. Okay. All right. Let's find this Brian Steele thing, because I think this Lester affidavit is really persuasive, in my opinion. I think it really is, because you have a really seasoned attorney making that decision there. Not even decision, but at least weighing in on what it looks like from the outside. And it doesn't make Glanville look good, you know? Hold Steele and Contempt. I miss my studio, guys. I can give you better quality stuff. Okay. Judge Glanville arrested, held in contempt. All right. Here it is. Let me screen share. Sorry, guys. Struggle streaming. Here we go. Let's watch it one more time. It's a 4-minute clip, but let's watch it. Let's watch the exchange.
You all are really getting yourselves cross purposes at this point in time. Sir, I'm telling you, you are at this point in time. You made some things out of nothing. I think that you're on very precarious ground at this point in time. So I'm telling you at this point in time, he's in custody. We're going to go ahead and start. You can represent Mr. Williams. That's okay. That's fine. I'll take up the other stuff as needed, but I'm not going to take it up right now. Say again? Respectfully, I will not. I cannot. Sir, you have to. Well, you're going to have to do the best you can at this point in time, because you don't get to extort the court. That's what you're attempting to do at this point in time. Sir, yes, you are. What you're trying to do is, I'm not going forward if I don't get this. You know, it doesn't work that way, Mr. Adams. And I'm telling you at this point in time, I would just kind of govern yourself accordingly. Sir, I'm telling you, as the court, under these particular circumstances, everything will come out as it should. I don't think, sir, I don't have enough information at this point in time to address it. I don't. But I'm telling you at this point in time, there is nothing that was given, said, whatever this morning. If there is any accuracy to some of the information that we are. But sir, I don't even know. Your co-counsel won't even tell me who said whatever. Okay. And the challenge I'm having in this particular circumstance is that is such a violation of the sacrosanctness of the court's chambers and an ex parte conversation. You're just glossing over that. You're glossing over that in its entirety. No, it's not, sir. Sir, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. I'm just telling you, that's not what happened.
Judge, respectfully, we are not obligated to simply accept that there's been no violation. We believe that there has been, and the only.
Okay, well then no, we're not doing that at this point in time. So you'll have a choice to make. All right, take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
That was a sad day. That was a very sad day. That was awful.
Your Honor, would the court afford me one moment to confer with counsel regarding the appropriate remedy in this type of situation?
Okay, all right.
That is terrible. I'm sorry. It actually hurts my soul to watch this happen to a lawyer.
May I say one thing, Your Honor?
Yes, sir, you certainly may.
Mr. Williams does not wish to go forward without me being here. You are removing me against his will, my will. You're taking away his right to counsel. And you're conducting material parts of this trial without me present, and I can't learn about it by watching online. So for that reason, additionally, I asked for a mistrial. And I assume you deny, but I'd like you to deny our motions for mistrial. You denied the other people.
I've denied your motion, but I'll certainly take that under advisement, sir.
Wow. Wow. Look at Doug.
We're going to be in
looking at
recess
him.
for the next 5 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to pause that. This isn't the full clip, so let me say that, guys. What that was is that was the tail end of it. We didn't see the original exchange. This was when Brian Steele was actually, brought to the bag. It's tough. It's tough to watch because he's literally doing his job. And even his co-counsel, like Adams, was right there because they were trying to pin everything, put Brian Steele in jail, start his sentence right away. And then it's like his co-pilot's got to take over the case by himself. That's what we just saw. That's what Glanville just said. And Adams is like, hey, you're violating Young Thug's rights right now. You're taking his lawyer away because you did something wrong. You had an ex parte communication. You had a secret meeting. And Brian is inquiring and asking you about it because you are supposed to tell them what happened. You are supposed to notify the defendants, and you didn't do that. Instead, you want to focus on who the mole was. You know what? I can't practice in Georgia. I'm sorry. I'm going to take this mass bar exam and look at a few other states, but are you serious? And then Brian's like, listen, he came up, took the tie off, was still respectful, didn't agree, is asking for a mistrial, and said to him, for the record, not only did Adam say it, he said it. You're violating my client's constitutional rights to counsel. We're all afforded that. Young Thug is paying them for that. How dare you take somebody's lawyer away when they need them the most? That made me so sad. It's like, it really is, it's terrifying to watch. And that's the thing, judges are lawyers too. Arturo said it on Leeds Live. You're a lawyer in not a dress, but the robe looks like a dress. But it's like, come on. You study the same way we did. You took the same bar exam that we did. You studied law the same way we did. That was really disappointing. Shout out to Madi, who says, suffering with you in Marlboro. Oh my gosh, it's so hot here. And here's the thing. I was just in Atlanta for the start of the week. Yeah, I was there from like Thursday, came back 2 days ago. But like, it's a different type of hot, you know, up here, like in Boston's usually like in the 80s, in the 90s. It was so freaking humid yesterday. It's still kind of humid in this building right now. I could feel the stickiness in the air. That's why I was like, we're throwing the braids back, you know, too funny. But Madi knows what I'm talking about. The weather up here is just strange this week. And we're near the water too. So it's like, I don't know if it just rises or whatever happens, how humidity happens, but interesting. Shout out to Bud Fox with the 50 Canadian bucks. The Canadians are showing out today. Good to see you, Bud. Bud says, AV, may your law career be as esteemed and illustrious as Sir Lester Tate. Thank you. Thank you for the well wishes. I mean, that's the thing. Like, when you care about this stuff, it hits a little bit different. Like, you know, I'll open up to you guys. I did not grow up in the best part of Boston. You know, my family didn't have it all. You know, I've had some family members make some mistakes and do some time. And what a lot of people don't understand is when you see, like, one of them was convicted of something that he legit did not do. That was part of the reason why I decided to go to law school, because of what happened to him. And at first I thought about criminal law and I'm like, I just don't like injustice in general. And I think most of you guys that follow me agree. Like, it's just, don't do that. Like, if we are spending all this time to make it fair for people, don't treat people wrong. There's a difference between right and wrong, right? And it was really sad what happened to the person in my family. You know, like, someone else had committed a crime and they had a palm print. And, you know, technically his prints were found on a weapon. But, you know, someone else had committed a super egregious crime, but because his prints were on it, he went down for a friend and was taken away from his family. And it really, jail can really impact people, man. Like, I watched this person who is like the sweetest person you can ever think of. I watched them change. I saw how jail really changed that person. And it wasn't a long stint in there. It was probably like 2 or 3 years. But I just saw how it changed who they were, you know, or who they used to be. And it happens, you know. So I hope that I can make some type of difference in this world. And even if it's here on YouTube, I like watching it from home, guys. I'd rather not be in court. I'd rather educate you guys on how this works, how it works, you know. So thank you so much, Bud. That was very, very generous of you. And you know, I think right now you and Meg are leading the charge with stream sponsorship. So thank you so much. Let me just make sure we're good on Cash App. Tariq, he says, AV, you have a supporter for life. Thank you. Thank you. Red Dog says, stay up here. Is Lead in the chat? Please don't tell me Lead's in the chat. Okay, I haven't seen him. Let me know if Lead is in the chat. But maybe it's not Lead trolling. All right, going to Cash App. Shout out to Natasha, who sends me $10. She says, Glanville needs to be charged with obstruction. He needs to be charged with something. Like, I really do. I really hope, fingers crossed, if the Supreme Court does something about this. Because putting lawyers in jail for literally standing up for their clients, literally doing what they're hired to do, what they're paid to do. It's insane. It's absurd. So I agree with you, Natasha. Shout out to Crystal, who hits me. Oh, actually, Betty Spaghetti, I almost doxed you. I'm sorry. I always forget, but I recognize your picture. So thank you so much. She hits me with 15. She says, snitches get fired. Betty, that was funny. Snitches get fired. Shout out to Betty Spaghetti, who's back again with 5. She says, do you not like to wear your hair curly? You know, I think I'm just going to do it. You know what it is, Betty? I need to cut my ends because they are dead. So, you know, I need to do like a diva cut. And then I probably would just wear it natural for the rest of the summer, to be honest. But some of you guys are like, I love your hair straight. So I got to give the audience what they want. So good question. Good question. All right. Cash App's good to go. Let me find the other clip so we can see the debauchery take place between Brian Steele. I think this is the original one. No, I got to be careful because Law and Crime sometimes, guys, they have these podcasts in the middle where they show the moment, but they'll actually show They'll actually show some other stuff happening too. Brian Steele, nope. Why is this so buried? Okay. Nope. That's not it either. That's Ashley Merchant. I'm having a hard time finding it, guys. Oh, wait. Yes, I found it. Woohoo! Shout out to me. All right, let's watch this moment. And this is when Brian Steele started the morning. They were supposed to start court at 9 a.m. Judge Glanville did not come in until 11, and that's when we found out about the secret meeting. So why don't we go ahead and watch that, and then we'll go to Woody's attorney and see how that exchange went. So here we go. Let's watch it.
The way I understand my constitutional obligations, pursuant to the 6th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution, the corresponding sections of the Georgia Constitution, I'm required to make a full and complete statement to the court. For the record, and if God forbid this goes up on appeal for the appellate courts or another tribunal, commission, or administrative body, I was told based upon information and belief that when we arrived at 8:30, 9 o'clock today, we did not come into your courtroom until almost 11:30. And what I found out just recently, this is not waived, is that supposedly in chambers, this honorable court reporter at times, honorable court at times, district attorney or district attorneys from the DA's office, as well as investigators, sheriff deputies, Mr. Copeland and his counsel met together. None of the defense team, to my knowledge, was aware that this was going on. It was told, based upon information belief, that it was told to the district attorneys that Mr. Copeland intended to plead the Fifth Amendment. Then I was told, based upon information belief, that Adrian Love, the lawyer for Mr. Copeland and this court, were together, and Ms. Love made representations that John Melnick supposedly spoke with some attorneys for the accused and wrote an email to Ms. Love, to Adrian Love, stating that Mr. Melnick does not represent the witness, and that Mr. Melnick wrote an email saying F you, and then somehow that email was CC'd to me. That never.
Mr. Steele, can I interrupt you for just a second? I'm kind of disturbed because
Here we
that's
go.
ex parte. All that was an ex parte conversation. How did you find out about any of that?
Well, I'm disturbed too, and the reason
I'm asking you a question. How did you find out about it?
I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay.
Scuttle, if you look at SCUDDER versus State, which is 298 Georgia, 438, it's Division 2, 782 Southeast 2D 638, 2016. Our highest court says when a court meets, because Mr. Copeland comes in, meets with the court supposedly made statements, which I assume is somewhat accurate based upon what you just said. We're entitled, Mr. Williams and every other person wrongly charged here is entitled under the Georgia Constitution to be present. That's a critical stage.
It's just like when you meet with me and you and Mr. Adams meet with me and others have met with me. It's those are ex parte for a lot of different other reasons, but I will certainly note that for purposes of the record.
Well, I'm going forward. What I was told was that Mr. Copeland said,
and you haven't answered my question yet.
I'm not going to answer that question.
You're not?
No, I will not answer that question.
Why will you not answer that question?
Because I want to make sure that what I say is accurate, and I'm not trying to.
No. I'm asking you, how did you get this information?
I'm not telling the court. What I'm saying is based upon information.
Okay, well, listen, if you don't tell me how you got this information, then you and I are going to have some problems.
We can have I have problems right now.
Okay, I know. Look, I don't want to know about your problems. Okay, at this point in time, all I'm asking you at this point in time is, how did you come upon this information? Look, if the case gets reviewed, the record's going to be available for our appellate court and for whatever reason. But it's disturbing that how somehow you have surreptitiously gotten information in regards to the court's private ex parte conversation with a party. I mean,
a witness who was sworn in Friday. The court's telling. This is what I was told. If this is not true, not true. This court handed Mr. Copeland.
Tell me how you got the information.
Listen, whatever you want to do.
Tell me how you got the information, then we can go ahead and go forward.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. I was told, and I hope this concerns the court.
It concerns me that you have proprietary information.
Why is it
or
proprietary?
Information that you should not be having that was ex parte.
Why?
With a party.
Why?
State of Georgia.
How about the witness? How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court,
okay.
Or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said, actually, all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I still want to know, how did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is, why wasn't I there? Why,
sir? I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who tell me who this information was.
I don't want to
be
held in contempt.
Well,
I'm not answering that question. That's attorney-client privilege information. I am not answering
attorney-client privilege. Unless you were in my chambers, that's the only way you can figure out.
I
tell you what, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me, if you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you. I'm going to put you in contempt because that is not attorney-client privilege.
Attorney work product privilege. I am not.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers? Did somebody tell you?
I'm not. You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, I don't need it. I want to continue.
You got 5 minutes?
This is what I was told. Mr. Copeland made statements that he admitted to killing Donovan Thomas and was. Don't take my notes. No.
Wow, guys, that's it. That's the moment. And, I'm happy. I just brought it up. I am happy that Lester is saying, like, a tenured attorney that has been around forever is like, that was wrong. That was wrong. He didn't answer the question. And even Steele asked him at one point, why? Why did you have the meeting? Did you guys notice he didn't answer the question? He was too focused on who the mole was. Brian, even with integrity, he could have said who the mole was. He chose not to. So I hope you guys understand, like, even like the legal community is outraged. Every single attorney that's reacted to this is upset. That's not right. Random stuff says, AV, are you in a Fulton County jail? No, I'm in a soundproof room to make sure that the audio isn't screwed when I talk to you guys. Temporary office. But thank you for breaking that up, random stuff, because I was getting like super passionate about this. Shout out to Anthony. Yeah, he got caught. He got caught red-handed. Red-handed. And that is what made it worse. Just ignore the question. You're a judge. Answer the question. We don't know who the mole was yet, Tariq. We had some discussion on the stream yesterday about that. So we will see. We will see. All right, let me do a few supers, and then we will look at Woody's attorney, who says he's going to report ADA Love or DA Love for her behavior. And that is a heated exchange. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And shout out to the subscriber that emailed that to me I think it was this morning or last night. We get so many emails in a day. So whoever sent that to me, thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Judge Glanville, who just became a member of the AV to the 7th Power community. Welcome, Judge Glanville. We're talking about you today. We're talking about the corruption today. We're talking about the shenanigans today. We're talking about what you did to Attorney Steele today. And it ain't good. It ain't good. So welcome to the community. Hope you will enjoy it while your time here lasts. Right? Justice is coming. Can you actually, matter of fact, can you guys type in justice is coming for Glanville? Like at him and put justice is coming. Do that in the chat just so he could feel it. Shout out to TJ. Thank you so much, TJ. TJ drops $4.99 and TJ says, thank you for streaming this morning. Thank you guys for watching. I haven't been here in a while. I think the last time I streamed was when I did a walk in DC. I was passing through there and it was right around the time of the Trump verdict. So I thought it was good to walk around, go to, where all these landmarks were. I think we walked by the Supreme Court. That was a really fun stream. And that was just like you guys getting to know me, and we did a Q&A. So that was really cool. But yeah, that was the last time I streamed. Other than that, I've been trying to do little short synopsises so you guys can get brought up to speed, and I'll keep you updated on that in a bit, because we got to do this week's recap, and me and my editor are working on that. We'll get that out to you guys prior to Sunday, so that way when Lead and I start on Monday, you guys have your weekly recap in just a quick little video. So that's what we've been working on. But thank you so much, TJ. Really, really happy that you're here, and you guys are blessing me today. Amazing stuff. Let me just make sure I'm all up to date on Cash Apps. Again, thank you, TJ. Shout out to, this is Granny of 5. She sent me $3. She says, I call Judge G YFN Glanville. That is funny. Granny of 5. Wow, 5, huh? It must be a busy Christmas. All right. Shout out to Sayin? 7 Sayin Rayan? I hope I'm saying that right, who also became a member. I appreciate you. And yeah, guys, I'm getting more comfortable, but at some point, like if we can't stream on Lead side and I need to cover it for a day, because sometimes we do that, we might be on my side. So you're going to want to make sure you get your memberships, because on those days, like, I'm not going to lie to you, I will lock you out. On those days. Like if I get the big crowd, I'm locking y'all out. It's going to happen. So as long as you keep my likes good, we're good, right? So thank you so much for becoming a member. Judge Glanville says, don't put that in the notes. I'm not YFN. I'm done with y'all. Okay, let's look at this. This is a treat. So somebody sent this to me, and before I share it, I want to shout out, because I am going to be using, not a news network, I am going to be using a clip from another creator. Her name is Megan Cuniff. She has been covering this. I came across Megan Cuniff a few years ago when she was covering the the Megan Thee Stallion case in Tory Lanez. I remember that, and that's when I came across Megan. But somebody sent me a clip from her channel, so I'm just saying that we're going to be using that, and I want to give her credit because the clip did come from her channel. I don't think there's any commentary in there, so we should be relatively safe to use it, but I'm just letting you guys know. Okay, let's watch this, because the title is Woody's Lawyer Vows to Report ADA Love to the State Bar for Misconduct. Y'all ready? Let's go.
My communications with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office in relation to Kenneth Copeland. And I found communications as late as June 5th of last year, where the Fulton County District Attorney's Office had reached out to me about speaking to Mr. Copeland concerning this trial, not about any other case, speaking with Mr. Copeland about this trial. Neither of these attorneys, no attorney at this table has ever attempted to contact me about Mr. Copeland and about his willingness or desire to testify at this trial. They have put us in this position where at the last minute, I'm trying to advise him as best I can what I think is best for him. Had they exercised the slightest bit of professional conduct, we would not be sitting here having this conversation today. And unfortunately, for me to fully explain everything that's been going on, it would require me to reveal confidences that I'm not going to reveal.
I don't want you to do that, sir.
I can assure you that the decision to invoke the Fifth came completely from Kenneth Copeland. I owe nothing to anybody over here. I owe nothing to anybody at any of these tables. I don't care, candidly, no offense, don't care what happens with their cases. The only thing I care about is what happens to Kenneth Copeland. And for any assertion, I'm sorry, Judge, for any assertion.
And that's your primary duty.
It is. That's exactly right. And for an assertion to be made that I or Mr. Copeland are somehow being influenced by somebody over here is absolutely ridiculous. I take great offense to it, and I can tell Ms. Love that I am going to the State Bar to report her for contacting a witness that she knows to be represented by counsel. She and
Okay, guys, this is a big deal. Let me explain, because some of you guys are coming in and you're getting a little confused by what we're watching. This is a big deal. The man on the podium right now is Little Woody's lawyer. This was the day that Little Woody invoked the Fifth Amendment. This is when he said, I plead the Fifth. This is what kicked off all of this. This was 2 Fridays ago, approximately 2 weeks ago, June 7th. We've never played this for you guys. I'm giving you an exclusive right now. That's Little Woody's attorney. And what did he just say about ADA love? What did the prosecution team do? He is saying that they contacted Little Woody and knew Little Woody had a lawyer. His government name is Kenneth Copeland. That's why he, Little Woody's attorney keeps referring to him as Mr. Copeland or Kenneth, right? What he is saying is that the prosecution team never contacted him and said, hey, we need to talk to your client on the witness stand. So they were wholeheartedly unprepared for this, right? So that's why he's upset. And he's like, you know what? The fact that they did that, I'm going to report DA Love to the state bar, because she knew that Little Woody had an attorney, right? So that's what we're watching. It looks like she is standing up to respond to what Little Woody's lawyer is saying, right? And he did make a comment about the defense lawyers. He's like, I don't care about them. I mean, he's kind of passionate here too. This was the day before he went on vacation. This was that Friday. This is the moment that kicked off all of the shenanigans over the last 2 weeks, all of it. So let's go back in and see how this exchange plays out.
I have had conversations about Kenneth Copeland.
Okay, and sir, that is whatever you decide to do outside of what the court is ruling upon. Remember, the court can only rule upon what I see. Okay, and what I see at this point in time is a witness who, for whatever reason, may have some other reasons about his testimony. He has expressed those this morning. He said, I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege. The state came to me and said, okay, listen, we would like you to sign an immunity order under 24-5-507. They make that decision. So there are, I think that gets us to the point where we knew that, or at some point in time, that the state knew that he was going to invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege. So
absolutely knew it.
So, but in order for them to still get this testimony, which they believe that they need, they offered him immunity. So that's what we explained to your client this morning. So whether or not he wishes to go ahead and still invoke his privilege, that's his choice. But the statute's pretty clear.
I understand.
And I know you, and I know you. I've known you, sir, for at least two decades or more, sir. And I know that you have told him, hey, look, if you invoke, this is probably what's going to happen. And I suspect that as you probably have a conversation with him now, you're probably going to tell him, well, that was a self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of what I told you might happen. But I don't know what conversations you have with him, but I suspect that they were consistent with what the dictates of 24-5-507. Now, Monday, we'll go ahead and I'll call him out before the jury comes in on Monday morning, and we'll ask him whether or not he wishes to continue his testimony, because I don't want him to invoke in front of this jury if I can help it. So since he's made it once already, I'm going to ask him before the jury gets out here on Monday, is it your intent to invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege? If it is, he's going to go back into custody until he's willing to go ahead and give testimony, because he has immunity, so he has to testify.
Judge, the only thing that I would say is that the primary reason Mr. Copeland is in custody right now is because the state has utterly failed to follow up with me in any regard with regard to what Mr. Copeland wants to do or intends to do.
I suspect that that's probably not true.
It is grossly unfair.
I've known you for almost 2 decades. I've known Miss Hilton and Miss Love in particular for a long period of time, and I don't think that they would do that to you. Judge,
at no point did they ever reach out to me about Mr. Copeland.
Your Honor,
about Mr. Copeland's testimony here today. The last time I heard from anybody in the Fulton DA's office was June of last year.
Ms. Hilton, did you reach out to Mr. Melnick? And if so, when?
When I talked to Mr. Copeland, he told me Mr. Melnick was not his attorney. So that is, I talked to the witness because
When did you talk to Mr. Copeland?
last Friday, because my understanding prior to that is that Mr. Melnick had told Ms. Love that he wasn't his attorney. So when we went to go serve him, I understand that he did not have an attorney. When I met with Mr. Copeland, and this is Friday evening, Mr. Long and I went to go meet with him in the car. We said, hey, I think Mr. Melnick's your attorney. He said, Mr. Melnick is not my attorney. He said, I haven't even talked to him. And then that is when we proceeded to begin our conversations. Anytime that Mr. Copeland did not want to speak with us, we did not speak with him. We called him on Monday to see if he could come down here. He said he didn't want to come, or he didn't respond. We left it alone. On Tuesdays when we picked him up for the first time, on Tuesday when he did not take the stand, we went upstairs. We had some conversation. We left. Mr. Long took him back home, and then yesterday he came back down here with us. Again, we showed him some of the evidence that we were going to show him, and that was the extent of it.
Thanks,
and if
Adam.
at any time Mr. Copeland would have told us he wanted his attorney present, we would have called Mr. Melnick. But our understanding was, one, he was not his attorney. Mr. Melnick disavowed being his attorney, and Mr. Copeland told me he wasn't his attorney. So that is what I based all of my decisions after.
Do y'all hear how hot she is? Do you guys hear this passion? You know who is this? You know who that is? That is ADA Hilton. She has a different hairdo, but that's ADA Hilton. Do y'all hear all that fire and gusto? Here's what she's arguing. She is saying that when she approached Little Woody, she said she approached Little Woody a week ago and she asked Little Woody if he had a lawyer. And Little Woody said no. Right? That's what she said. Now, Melnick, the man at the podium, is Little Woody's lawyer, according to Little Woody. So you see how there's a little bit of a miscommunication here? There's a gap in time, but do y'all hear that passion in Hilton's voice? I have not heard this in any of the proceedings we've watched the last 2 weeks. This is interesting. This is so interesting. It's getting good.
It was not until 6 o'clock last night, or whenever this email was sent from Mr. Melnick with Mr. Shard and Mr. Steele copied on it, that I get this idea that you've been talking to my client and then my client is going to plead the fifth, which brought us here today. That has been what has happened since last Friday, Your Honor.
All right. So we have a witness that may not have been totally candid or may not have thought that he potentially needed you. And as things developed, Mr. Melnick, he decided, well, yeah, he does need you. But whether or not
And Your Honor, it's my understanding that Mr. Melnick called Mr. Copeland last night. So it wasn't that Mr. Copeland called Mr. Melnick. Mr. Melnick so happens to call him the night before he's supposed to testify. So I don't know what has happened or what has transpired, but that is the extent of what occurred.
So I'm not going to get into my conversations with my client.
No, and I don't expect you to. But I do want to remind you, Mr. Melnick, as well as I reminded both sets of counsel, that you owe a higher duty of tribunal to me and the court than you do anybody else. So please don't, you as a professional advocate, don't put yourself in a position where you come cross purposes with the rules. Okay.
Of course.
And that sometimes has to be explained to witnesses and clients. Okay. All right. So that's where we are at this point in time. Is that Monday morning I will bring Mr. Copeland back out. It is, I don't relish the fact of holding him in contempt, but that's all I have at this point in time because he's been given immunity. So we'll take him up because that's our first session of court. We won't be having anything else until then.
And Your Honor, I would like to ask that the court convey to Mr. Melnick, to convey to Mr. Copeland that he is subject to being committed and held in the Fulton County Jail until the end of this trial, because I'm certain Mr. Melnick, if Mr. Melnick wants to convey to us some of the concerns that he has, Mr. Melnick has I'm certain is quite familiar with the statute under which the court has compelled Mr. Copeland to provide testimony. So there is nothing that we could do to Mr. Copeland regarding any testimony we elicit from him on the stand pursuant to the court's order under the statute that the court has cited, 245507. And that statute gives the court the ability and probably, depending on how the court feels about it, the absolute duty, given the necessity of Mr. Copeland's testimony, to hold Mr. Copeland in the Fulton County Jail until he decides to purge himself of the contempt of court by providing testimony. If Mr. Melnick would like to speak with Ms. Hilton or any other member of the state regarding his concerns about that order, which tracks the statute almost verbatim, then I would invite him to do so.
Okay, I'm sorry. I waited a really long time to not say anything. What just happened? Do y'all want to know what's so crazy about what we're watching? This interaction happened the Friday before the secret meeting. And what did she just say? If Little Woody doesn't testify, we will hold him in contempt. We will hold him until the end of this trial. She says it right there. She says it right there. That's a little bit of coercion. She's standing behind a statute to do it. But this is interesting, guys. Wow. Like, to watch it, like, after watching all of this play out, and then to come back to that Friday before the secret meeting took place, and the secret meeting took place at 8:30 Monday morning. This was the Friday before. They needed Little Woody on the stand. They wanted Little Woody on the stand. Shout out to Betty Spaghetti. By any means necessary. Do you see how hard they're fighting? And then Hilton is going back and forth, like, because she's saying, oh, when I talked to him, he said he was unrepresented, like all of that stuff. Like, she's, neck snapping, all that, like all that. He said he was unrepresented. I didn't do anything wrong. Mr. Melnick called him the day before he was supposed to testify and said he was going to represent him. And that's only because Attorney Scharf and Attorney Steele reached out to him and told him. Well, how did they know that Melnick was even, in relation to Little Woody at all? It's because the defense lawyers knew that Little Woody, like the prosecution, needs Little Woody on the stand. So they are the ones who told Melnick, and Melnick calls and he's like, what the hell? He's represented. And Hilton's standing up like, no, he didn't say that. This is a whole dumpster fire. It gets better, though. And we're almost done with this clip, but it gets better. Watch this, watch this, watch this.
Otherwise, as I've stated, I don't see it being in Mr. Copeland's best interest to be confined to the Fulton County Jail until the end of this trial. But I will leave those matters to Mr. Melnick, who at this time is asserting that he is representing Mr. Copeland. But again, that was not the understanding that Mr. Copeland had previously given to us.
Okay, so Mr. Melnick, if you do in fact talk with Mr. Copeland, like I said, I'll bring him back on Monday and we'll see where we are at that point in time.
Okay.
And he has the ability to purge himself by just providing testimony consistent with what he knows or what his knowledge of is in this case. Okay.
Judge, I have some personal matters that I need to convey to Chambers, but I'll do that off the record.
Okay. I'm going to recess in just a little bit, and but can you be back for Monday morning?
That's just it. I can't. Is this something I can take up off the record?
Well, I kind of have to call him on Monday. I do. I mean, there's no choice. I have no choice because that is the next session of court.
Judge, I have non-refundable tickets out of town on Monday. I can't be here. I cannot be here. And there is nothing I've had this on file with Fulton County since December 15th of last year. And again, had the state contacted me before today, I would have made them aware of this.
Well, there's one of those times as a lawyer that you're going to probably have to kind of figure out a solution, sir. I mean, I don't want to put you in this particular position.
I can't be here, Judge. I absolutely cannot be here.
Well, you have a choice. You can be here if you want, but you'll have to figure out some other things to do with your tickets. I mean, here's the thing. If you're asserting, if the state was relying upon the fact that you were not his counsel, and now you are, you have put us in a situation where now you put yourself in between a rock and a hard place. I mean, so he's coming back on Monday.
I'll have somebody else make my
Then that can be done. And sir, I would advise you to do that. But remember, Mr. Copeland, has to have some concurrence. So maybe before he leaves and goes actually to the Fulton County Jail, you may need to have a conversation with him about that. So we're clear, and I'm clear as to whether or not you're coming back on Monday or somebody else is.
I'll have somebody go.
And I need to know who that lawyer is. Do you want to have a conversation with him before?
I'm gonna talk to him right now.
All right. Okay. I'm going to allow you to do that. And then I'll remain and be available for further discussion. So let me go ahead and Sergeant Ham, can you and your colleagues or Lieutenant?
Oh my God, I got so excited. I clicked the wrong button. Oh my God, guys, what did we just watch? That very last part is so important, right? I'm here, guys. Sorry. I got excited. I clicked the wrong button. I clicked the wrong window off. So what we just watched was Melnick, right? Judge Glanville's like, listen, I know you got travel plans, but you want to be his attorney? You need to be here on Monday. Now, here's what, I don't know if you guys picked up on that, because who stood in for him on Monday? It was Bumpus. Bumpus stood in for him on Monday, right? And he said, like they were going back and forth. Judge Glanville's like, you really need to be here. You need to cancel your tickets. It's a choice. You could be here if you want. Whatever the case may be, he was just like, but I'm going to call him on Monday. So if you're saying that he's represented by you and you want to represent him, you need to be here on Monday, or you could have a stand-in. And he said, I'll get a stand-in. He goes, all right, well, maybe you need to have a conversation with that lawyer first. And Melnick said, I'll talk to him. This took place on the Friday before the secret meeting. Melnick had somebody else in mind to represent Little Woody or to stand in that day. And I suspect he scrambled. He was scrambling and scraping to find somebody last minute to stand in. Because he said him. He had a male attorney in mind, not a female attorney. Can you guys believe that? So now we need to, oh my God, that just blew my mind. So now we really have to determine what happened with this email, because apparently there was an email where Melnick himself said something. Brian Steele just talked about it. Rewind, go back to the last clip I showed you. Brian Steele just talked about it. Brian said Melnick responded to somebody and said, fuck you. Like, sorry for those that don't want me to curse. But like, who was Melnick saying that to? And if you're jumping in to represent Little Woody last minute, apparently, according to DA Hilton, last minute, and he's just like, no, I was always his lawyer. And if you guys let me know about this months ago, then we could have made arrangements for all of this. I'm just coming in right now. What is this dumpster fire? Shout out to, who was the person that sent this to me? Let me go back to find it, because that is incredible. That was incredible. They sent it to me this morning. Where are you? Where's the email? Let's just say, I think it's Dion. Dion, thank you so much for sending us this clip, because this is really enlightening. Wow. It really makes you think a little bit differently. It totally does. All right, let me see where I left off at Cash Apps. Shout out to Mr. Turner, who says, hello, I'm today's sponsor. I've entered the chat with my $2. I'm today's sponsor. Thank you so much, Mr. Turner, for the super chat. Appreciate you. Shout out to Tech Coach Ralph, who says, what had happened was, yeah, did you see how all of that, like the last minute stuff came in? But it's so enlightening to see that this is the very last proceeding, one of the very last conversations before the secret meeting took place on Monday. So there is more to the story that we just did not know of. Shout out to Meg, who says, don't forget to keep hitting the like button. That's right, guys. Hit the like on your way in. Thank you so much for those that are hitting the like button. Shout out to Jamie with the 199. Thank you so much, Jamie. No comment, no question, pure love of the game. Shout out to Scott, who says, scrambling and scraping, no titty. You know, I have been using that a little bit too much lately. The scrambling and scraping. I thought it was hilarious, but, you know, the first time it happened and seeing Fabulous's face wasn't that funny. Wasn't that funny? Well, listen, guys, that's actually what I had for you today. Shout out to Salty Balls, who's in the chat with $9.99. He says, I can't wait for this to be a Medea movie, sex scandal and all. I mean, it might turn into one. Tyler Perry Studios is in Atlanta. It's a little bit outside of Atlanta, you know, so it may show up it may show up on the big screens one day. It really has to. This is bigger than OJ. This trial is such a shit show. This is like the trial of the year, really. You know, what did we have? The last big trial we had 2 years ago, we had Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That went viral. But I think for something that's just hitting a different community, this is insane. But this is more about the corruption, right? Insane. Well, listen, guys, I'm gonna do this. I haven't done it in a really long time, but I'm gonna drop the link and see if anybody wants to come up, give your opinion on what we saw today. I'm gonna read a few more super chats as well, and then we'll head out for the afternoon. Lead and I are not gonna be streaming today, okay? So unless something major happens, because that's when he gets me. Like even yesterday, I said we were scrambling and scraping to do that stream because we were not planning on streaming yesterday. We really, you know, so the plan was, because of all this evidentiary stuff, we just want to get back when Woody hits the stand, so that way we can let you guys know what's going on with a little bit more better analysis. Because again, we know that they're just going through hours of testimony right now. They're going through hours of Little Woody's interviews. So until they get through that, we're really kind of at a standstill, unless the Supreme Court is like Judge Glanville. No. Judge Glanville, hell no. You got to stop what you're doing immediately. So if you guys are interested in coming up, I'll hang out for a few more minutes. I pinned the link to the top of the chat. If you guys want to chat with me, we can do that. In the meantime, though, let's read a few more cash apps. Shout out, or super chats. Shout out to Sean Owens with the $5. She says, AV, Woody asked for his attorney in one of the interview videos when he was talking to a detective. I'm sure he did. But who was his lawyer at the time? Was it Bumpus? Was it Melnick? Who was it? Remember, Little Woody has been arrested so many times, guys. So many times. 53 charges. At what point in time? At what point in time? All right, guys, I have a few people in the back. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first contestant. We will bring up Albert. Albert, how are you doing? I think you're muted.
What's up, baby? I just want to say congrats on all the success with you and the lead.
Thank you.
You guys been getting me through all the work weeks, so.
Yeah, well, you're trucking. You're trucking. So you like trucking, those are long hours.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to bring up that guest from yesterday, infamous, I forgot her name.
Infamous Sylvia. Yeah.
She mentioned 88 Hilton and Bumpus talking secretly in the secret room, and Hilton was trying to convince Bumpus to take the blame, or trying to get her to take the blame. So that must be some sort of cover-up on part of the prosecutor, probably trying to get her to accept something. And Sylvia said that Bumpus was not with it, so she was not trying to get.
She doesn't even live there. Like that's the other thing. She doesn't even live there. But they have history. You're right. She also said that Bumpus at one point, guys, and I don't know if the chat knows this, but at one point, Bumpus used to actually work for the prosecutor's office.
Yeah. So, and they should also mention that Bumpus and Love didn't have a good relationship, but I guess Bumpus and Hilton do have some sort of relationship. It's just all over the place. It's messy right now. It's crazy what's going on. And I don't know if you saw the videos of Love and Hilton getting into it, fighting over the mics.
Yeah, they were talking about that yesterday, and you know, the relationship that they've had, because I think, and I call this, I did mention it one of the days that we covered last week, where little Woody was being difficult, and I think it was the day that she cried, Hilton cried, and she kept writing notes to her. She kept showing her stuff, like, you know, like write notepad. Yeah, and she's just like, say this, because here's the thing. Love cannot question Woody because she's involved with somebody that Woody knows in another case. That's why she can't do it herself.
So Love knows it's going bad. Love knows it's going bad. The jury seeing all of this, man, it's just a shit show.
Right? It's so bad. You're so right, Albert. It's so bad. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Supreme Court is going to stop this?
I mean, I don't know. Probably. It's just so many things going on, and they have so many outside lawyers, you know, commenting on all this. It's not just the lawyers inside the courthouse. It's everyone who's saying the same thing. I mean, it's pretty hard. For at least the Supreme Court, they probably won't like dismiss it, but they'll probably get another court, another judge to take a look at it, see what he says. And I mean, from the looks of it, it's not looking good for the.
I gotcha.
Probably a retrial. Probably. Who knows?
We'll see. Well, Albert, thank you so much for coming up.
Good work.
Will do. Thank you, Albert. Be safe out there.
Yeah, we'll do. I pulled over just for this. So.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Albert has some good points. He had some really, really good points. I mean, you know, there are a lot of contentious relationships behind the scenes that none of us can see. We can just only see what's happening from the trial stream, but super, super crazy. Let's keep it going. We'll bring up our next contestant. Let's go to Roll Tide. Roll Tide NFL Sports. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right, EV. Y'all is the truth. It's going to be a rapid rap trial. What's going to happen? I believe that Lil Woody talked to Brian Steele on a down low. Somebody knows something. Somebody knows it's going to come out, and the Supreme Court is going to ban Glenn Steele because he still have a mental Vietnam and Army issue problem of having authority. So my thing is, the Supreme Court is going to overrule Glenn and kick him off the case completely.
Yeah, they could assign it to another judge, which is probably what they should do.
Don't be surprised that they end up barring Miss Love and the other side kick over there though. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but you know,
somebody knows something. Somebody didn't squeal. Somebody didn't sneak. It's an inside. So if the judge told the deputy to cut their cameras off, bam, that's where it is.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He did tell them to turn that off.
See, if somebody leaked it over the weekend, somebody didn't talk to Instagram over here and say, "Hey, that's what happened." So to sum it up, it's gonna be a riot. It's gonna be a mistrial, but I hope and pray that nobody don't get hurt because you got it like my old saying. It's gonna be like another Godfather 1, 2, and 3 classic. You know what I'm finna say, right? But I ain't gonna say it. But it's gonna be a dangerous situation, and you know what though in that movie. So
yeah,
that judge better be careful. Better watch his back in the prosecutors because it's on and popping.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And I thank y'all for y'all educations. You and Lee, man, y'all the truth. Y'all taught me something. Y'all taught when Luke would have said the fifth, he gonna next he gonna explode and gonna say, I plead and send it. Watch my word now.
Yeah, well, listen, you're calling it. We're gonna watch it all play out and see what happens. And if you're right, shout out to Roll Tide for being right.
Hey, I'm learning from y'all though, because y'all opened my eye to other stuff. I said, wow. So all this corruption. So let you know that this is not the land of the free.
That's right. Well, hopefully the justice system will prevail in this situation, but we'll go from there. But listen, brother, it was good. Go ahead.
Don't be surprised. You see, it'd be a woman judge up there, though.
Oh,
it would be a lot worse.
That's a good theory. That's a good theory. Yeah. Well, listen, brother, I'll let you go. We got a few people in the back, and I want to give people an opportunity to speak. But it was amazing chatting with you. You can come up anytime.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. Bye now. All right, guys. Wow. I mean, same thing. Everybody has their opinions on this, and you guys bring up some really interesting ideas and things we forgot about. I forgot that Glanville had the law enforcement that was in the room. He had them turn off their body cams. So what was talked about? I think when we talked about that, Lee did say that that is standard in some situations. However, with this secret meeting that Glanville didn't want anybody to know about, the body cams were turned off. So super interesting point. Super interesting point. Let us keep it going. Shout out to Donnie. How are you, Donnie?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome.
I will tell you that I started listening to this case with you and Lead. I was in the back seat of a car going from Ohio to Florida. And for me, I'm a legal junkie. I'll sit in on a trial somewhere in a small town. And so watching this was like watching the Super Bowl, but you didn't know you were going to the Super Bowl. And
it was a surprise.
The amount of corruption that we've watched on display overtly amongst so many people, whether it be, like you just mentioned, the sheriff's department connected with the DA, connected with the judge. I'm surprised we don't hear the word RICO more often. I'm surprised. I'm just being honest here. It's weird how Democrats like to throw the round RICO towards Trump. But right here in front of our face, we're seeing RICO corruption happen with all these little people wanting to work together. And in what I do, I work around a lot of politicians who stupidly will say things like, I had a DA guy wanting to run for DA once, and he thought he was saying something good. And he goes, I want to work with the sheriff's department and the courts. And I go, hey, I don't want that.
Keep them like all these groups should be separate. They really
I want you all to hate each other.
Maybe we can have some effective jobs happening, right?
So it's been great. And I'll tell you, AV, it's been great watching you and Lead break it down in a way for me, because I didn't go to college for these legal words. So when you hear mandamus, when you hear what was it, an odor of mendacity? These are great things to use. And when I hang out with my lawyer friends, I'll definitely be dropping them.
Wonderful. Look at that. We've equipped you for those conversations. Well,
do you have any questions for me as a conservative that's watching this and watching Georgia on the outside? I mean, what do you think of what we see on the outside? Is this a one-off? Should we not be judging Fulton County this way? Or are we seeing what is normal, a normal court system in Georgia?
No, I mean, I think, there's a lot of, there's been a conservative lens on what's happening in Fulton County for a few months now, particularly, I think a lot of this kicked off with the election interference case, right? But look at how much that turned into a dumpster fire. So I don't think it's even from a conservative viewpoint. I think everybody's kind of looking at it like with surprise, like what is going on here?
But you say dumpster fire, but we haven't seen the fire. I mean, we've seen the Supreme Court send a letter down, which is really nice, but is it weird for us civilians not to see somebody stop this judge from the corruption? Where if I, as somebody who could not afford cameras in the courtroom, if I was somebody who could not afford lawyers like, what's his name, Big Slime or whatever, it's scary to me that I could be the victim of a judge that is that unhinged. And when you see the Trump side and the judges, what is it? Her father or somebody's Fannie Willis's dad was like a international judge, and the guy's insane. And he judged over people, and it just seems like there's no oversight to stop these insane people from having high positions overtly. They're just Is it politics before excellence, or what do you see going on here with Fannie Willis? this judge, everything going on, because I think for a lot of people, it's scary. It's scary to see.
It is scary.
Yeah.
And it's, it's unfortunate. And that's why when I started the stream, I really wanted to break it down and at least show people, like, in this scenario, I do believe that they are attempting to stop what Judge Glanville is doing, and that's why I brought up the really seasoned attorney that was included in this, Tate, right? He had been practicing for, I think it's something around 36 years.
The one with the big bio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. The Supreme Court did not allow Brian Steele to spend 1 day in jail, right? The Supreme Court is also looking at this.
Why did the lower court do anything about it?
Because Glanville is in the lower court. As far as the Court of Appeals, they didn't have jurisdiction over it, so they transferred it to the Supreme Court. That took place in 2 days. I actually think that's a good thing because it's showing that there is some progress, that there are people in high places, and that they are looking at this a little bit differently. That's
something a voter like me wants to see.
Exactly.
I want to see this. I don't want to see them step in for things like the guy used an or instead of an and. I do want to see it when they take somebody's freedom, anyone's freedom.
Yeah.
I want that looked at.
Yeah.
And so from what you're saying, I'm very thankful that eyeballs were
exactly. And I would also have a little bit of confidence in the Trump Fannie case, because here's what happens. That the Court of Appeals put a stay on it until after the election. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And that was a recent decision. So I do think that, we are looking at the stuff that's happening on the bottom, and we're looking at people, to your point, that are a little bit out of control and can be, they make some crazy decisions, but there are systems in place to stop it.
I hope so, because it's weird, as somebody who wants to vote for Trump, that a DA in Georgia can stop my right to vote here in Florida. A DA in Fulton County can corruptly decide, I'm going to go after Trump, and that stops my ability to vote. So it scares me that a DA in Fulton County can have that much power over our national system.
Yeah.
And nobody in Georgia, at least this is what I'm going to tell you, people of the state of Georgia. You guys did nothing to stop it. And we see it all over the United States, and we hate you for it.
Okay, Donnie. All right. There's some passion there.
I don't know. I'll just say, I really hate the politicians in Georgia. If you want to call yourself good Christian people, you should have done something to stop Fani Willis. Yeah. It was so disgusting that if I got a speeding ticket and got sent to prison for death, that's what it feels like they did to Trump. They corruptedly created this system. And I'm glad to hear from you that there are systems, hopefully, to stop even somebody who might be guilty of a crime, that they get the correct justice.
Gotcha.
So thank you so
Donnie,
much.
Yeah, lots of passion here. Thank you. I see it. And
thank you. Hey, you could turn the camera off. The passion stays on. I watch you guys, and it's the best.
Bet. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Anytime, Donnie. I want to give other people a shout up here, but have a great weekend. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye. Okay. Lots of passion from Donnie there. Lots of political discussion as well. So that puts a different lens on things. But getting back to what we're looking at here in Fulton, not even just Fulton County, what we're looking at with Judge Glanville in particular is, I wanted to really highlight the point of having systems in place, right? Like, we know Glanville is out of line in some respect here. But, I did really want to reiterate the fact that there are some things that are in place for us to jump from step 1 to step 3. Okay. And that's the most important thing. Okay. I have a few more people in the back, so we'll keep it going. I'm going to bring up Adam. Adam, how are you?
I am great. Thank you, AV. It's great to talk to you, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your super as well. And I think you might have sent me a DM or a message months ago. You have a podcast, right?
I do, but it's my first time using Cash App, and I actually requested the money I wanted to give you, requested it from you. I was so embarrassed. I saw that afterwards. I was like, you did not just do that.
Listen, it happens. It happens a lot. Like the way that we are using technology and interacting with this community, whether it's Cash App, Super Chats, like I've made mistakes with Super Chats. One time, and you guys are going to love this. I'll tell this story real quick, and then I'll ask you some questions on what's happening here. But when I first came across the lead attorneys community, you know, I was like super excited about being there because I was like a fresh law student, all this stuff. And what I ended up doing is I didn't realize that Lead reads his Super Chats like hours later or not in real time. So I sent it and I'm like, I see him reading everybody else's. I'm like, did he get it? How come he's not reading it? So I sent him $50 and I thought it didn't go through. So I sent another $50.
Oh, damn.
And then I sent another $50. And then I sent another $50. So at that point I was $200 in. And then towards the end, I'm like, he's not reading it. And people were like, oh, send a cash. Or people were sending him cash apps and he's reading cash apps. So I'm like, let me send him a cash app. So by the time he got to all of my Super Chats, he's like, who is this girl? She says she's a law student. Where does she get all this money?
Yeah.
So it's like, I have made mistakes with this. So don't worry about it. It
You're
happens
like
to all of us.
$250 in.
Oh my
love it.
God. And he will never, he stopped telling that story, luckily, but for a while, he used to tell that story all the time. And he's just like, well, even though she made a mistake, I ain't giving the money back. Like,
Sorry.
yeah, shenanigans. Anywho, Adam, what is your take on what is happening with Judge Glanville, this case, all of it? What do you think?
It's wild. And I'm kind of been curious at it as I've been watching you and Lead, you know, paint this picture and kind of explain what's going on. And one thing I really like about you guys is because I'm not a lawyer, of course, like many people, fascinated with true crime, but I love the way that you can kind of relate things, especially both of you with your experience and your acumen, relate things into a way that someone who is fascinated by it, but can't claim to understand all of it in a way that I can digest. And we all can. I mean, that's why your numbers, Lead's numbers are all going up. I'm curious though, what does this look like from a macro lens? I've heard you and Lead talk all about the chief judge, longest trial, most expensive trial. I most certainly think Glanville should be removed after he got spanked by the higher court. But my question is, like, what do you think the fallout, either tangible or maybe even figurative, that will come from this for future cases? Just the look on the DA. Maybe will this even affect the attorney general for what a shit show it's been looking like? How do you see that on like a 30,000 feet looking down level?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I could tell you're a podcaster because it was such a good question. The way you framed it, I'm like, yeah, you definitely has a podcast. We'll get into that because I definitely want you to shout out your podcast and tell the audience more about it. But I will say this, because the last person that came up, although there was lots of passion, you know, in a conservative viewpoint, I will say this, because the conversation was good, because I was able to showcase, like, hey, look, there are provisions in place. Sometimes, you know, when we look at things for face value, we're like, oh, this person's out of control, everything's corrupt, nobody's stopping them. But there are systems in place to stop things like this, right? I think once a lot of the stuff that happened with Fani Willis came out, Georgia as a state was looked at. And it doesn't matter if you're on the conservative side or if you are on a much, you know, you're on the different side of the aisle. As a state, the state system is now being looked at. Now, the good thing about that, and this is why I brought up the Court of Appeals in that instance, is because the Court of Appeals had to make a decision. And they were like, we need to be fair and impartial here. It's a U.S. president. It's an election case. We're going to press pause on this and come back until after the election. So they made that decision. You know, the Georgia Senate was conducting hearings on that matter as well. So you can see that they're starting to really think about their system as a state and how it's going to impact other people. Here, the decision with Brian Steele to go to jail. The Supreme Court could have allowed Judge Glanville to do that, but they chose not to, right? They granted him a bond because they understood, hey, if we are having all of these political issues, if we are allowing judges to put attorneys in jail and not, you know, putting our foot down, are we as a state being fair and impartial, right? So I do think that the higher up the food chain you go in the legal system here, I think that they're really starting to look at the law. Even the Tate affidavit I just read, looking at that, they're like, the person that wrote it, he made it a fair point, and he made it a logical, legal point. I am not looking at Judge Glanville's rulings. I am looking at Judge Glanville's actions, right? So now you're starting to see them take a little bit of a deeper stance as far as how does this make us look? Every state is a brand in a sense.
Right.
The country is a brand. And how does, collectively, how do we want this to look? So that's my little spiel on it. You took me down a philosophy thing, but
yeah, well done.
Yeah, you asked me a question. Now I'm going to ask you one.
Go ahead.
So what do you think is going to be the outcome of the Supreme Court with Glanville, subject matter of this, his recusal? Do we think that they're going to have him do it?
A part of me, it's so funny now, because whether it's this, I mean, all the way back to even OJ and everything in between, you think I just interviewed the OJ driver because the 30th anniversary just happened. Here's a person who, his testimony beyond the DNA, they were confident it was going to put OJ away. And it was the only testimony that the jury even wanted to rehear again. And we all know what happened. Everything up to then, you think you know how these things are going to go, and you're just always left surprised. I have a feeling that the Supreme Court is going to come down on Glanville. But I do know that you talked about that brand, and it kind of goes into that. I don't know, sometimes when you want to preserve that brand, you might not want to, it doesn't look good to have to spank down your chief judge in a municipality or in a state like that. So that's when I feeling like something's tugging me, going, maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to try and preserve that brand, which will then preserve his actions. But I'm kind of leaning towards, I think they're going to do something. I think they're going to remove him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that was great. That was great, Adam. I think you brought up a lot of good points there. Well, listen, Adam, I have a few other folks in the back that I want to give an opportunity to come up. It was great to talk to you. I know you had sent me a message too. I'll respond to it. But tell us more about your podcast. Where can people find it?
I'm a radio broadcaster of like 20 plus years. Recently,
I can hear it. I can definitely hear it.
Recently went independent, so I have a daily podcast. Like I had a morning show. It's called Up and Adam with Adam Montiel. I live in wine country here in California, so I have two different wine podcasts that are both top 10 wine podcasts in the country. Where Wine Takes You, and The Pour, which talks about more than just wine. The Pour with Adam Montiel. That was very nice of you to even let me plug those. That's not why I came here. So thank you very much, AB. Much love.
Anytime, Adam. Have a great weekend. Thanks for coming up.
Take care.
All right, take care. Bye. All right, guys. We are going to be wrapping up soon, but I want to bring one more person up, and we are going to wrap up with some super chats. And I just got a text from Lee giving you guys some intel on some of the things that are happening with the case. So I'm going to bring up Janice. How are you doing? Hi. How are you?
Oh my goodness, I made it.
You made it. You made it. It's good to talk to you. How you doing?
Hi. I have been looking at so much YouTube for the past 3 months, and I just happened to stumble onto the lead attorney, and I was like instantly addicted. I said, "What is this? These kind of shows been going on all along, as opposed to the other ones, talking about actresses and so forth." I'm like, this is really interesting, right? And I've learned so much in just like one show, But my main thought is my background is I've worked in the health industry for a long time, and I've been a substitute school teacher for a long time.
Okay.
And I just as a regular person, common person, thinking, if I was on the jury, what would I be thinking of?
Right. What in the world?
Does the jury know how all this is going on? Are they there?
So, so while all this is happening, while these attorneys are fighting and all this stuff is going on, the juries allegedly do not know about this secret meeting. They haven't been in the room when the judge talks to everybody about it. Now, they're also not supposed to be on the internet or looking at this in the news and all of that. But I think it's impossible for them to not be aware at this point. But we heard yesterday from a source that was in the courthouse. There's a woman that's been going to the courthouse for the last 2 years, and she can see the jury. And she's mentioned to us that they ain't paying attention. They're talking to each other. They're hardly taking notes. They're bored. You know, they're laughing at little Woody on the stand. Like this has been going on for almost 2 years.
Okay,
So,
what just them being able to laugh at little Woody after they're questioning him, it would make me feel, well, aren't they able to get him to answer questions
oh yeah.
directly? You know, and what is this all about? You know, and it would give me the impression, if I was on the jury, something is amiss here. You know, something else. What happened? You know, and then it will make me feel I can't trust his testimony or her actions of questioning him.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's now, can they, as a right, can they disregard his whole testimony if they wanted to?
Nurse Janice is like, take it out, take the whole thing out. We don't need to, we don't need his testimony. It is such a mess. But that's the thing. It was a state's choice to bring him up. But the only reason why he's up there is because they gave him immunity. He don't want to be up there. Like he does not want to be up there at all. But it is a little bit of a waste of time. This whole week, and I'll just announce it now because Lee just sent it to me, guys. The jury's not coming back for 2 weeks because they want to play all of Little Woody's testimony, all of Little Woody's jail phone calls. That is going to take 2 weeks to get through. So to answer your question, Janice, it is a waste of time. Little Woody not wanting to cooperate has caused almost a month of this jury not being able to do their jobs. Isn't that crazy?
But as a citizen, he has the right to get up there and voluntarily testify to what he wants to, doesn't he? I mean, if he doesn't want to say, hey, I saw who killed him or I killed him, he doesn't have to do that.
He already tried not to. So when you invoke your Fifth Amendment right, it's you don't have to speak, right? He already tried to do that. And they said, if you don't cooperate, we're going to put you in jail.
Did they say that in front of the jury?
No, behind the scenes. That's what with the secret meeting that Lee and I was talking about.
I feel like it would be a mistrial if the jury didn't know that, because they need to know why is he responding that way.
They do. They do.
I feel like they do, because it's gonna come out after the trial.
I think so.
If you kept me on a jury for 2 years, and I didn't know certain things, I would be like, somebody was railroaded.
Yeah, talk about it. But Janice, listen, I'm going to run out of here soon. It was wonderful talking to you.
And
anytime.
You tell Lee to be more respectable to you, sniffing bottles and things. You tell him you're a lady. You're a lady. I love him.
I'll pass along the message. Thank you so much, Janice.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye now. All right. I love talking to y'all. It's so refreshing to hear other people's opinions, and they're coming from different places with different experience, So, I haven't brought anybody up in such a long time, guys, but let me catch up on some of these supers. I will bring you up to speed. So if you missed it, I just mentioned it while I was talking to Janice, but Lee did text me. It has been announced that the court is not going to bring the jury back for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 2 semanas. So we will see what's going on. We think that there's still going to be a ton of these court documents, these court filings coming out, because there's a lot of things pending right now. We have the order to show cause meeting that Judge Glanville scheduled for Tuesday. So we know that should be happening on Tuesday. We also have the Supreme Court thing that's floating around. So we need to see what the decision is going to be. You know, we see it docketed. I showed you guys that at the beginning of the stream. It has been docketed, so I will personally be keeping track to see how that's moving along within the system. But just keep that in mind. But we will still be here, you know, whenever court documents come out. We're going to go there, but we'll probably slow it down as far as the daily streams. But we'll see. Let me come to some super chats here. Shout out to Adam. Adam, it was really good seeing you again. Thank you so much. He drops me a $10 super and he says, I got to be here Monday. What you mean? Yeah. So at this point, when you drop this, Monday was in question. Right now, we are not quite sure. So we are keeping you guys informed and updated as we get trial updates, but I'll keep you guys posted if we're going to be here on Monday. I'm not sure right now, depending on that last text, but we'll see how the day pans out because we get these updates as the day happens. Like yesterday, I told you guys on Instagram that we weren't going to go live, right? I'm like, we're not going to go live today. Then I put out a video and then this complaint or this document dropped. And then me and Lead are like, oh, let's run to the, run to the cameras and get this out to everybody so they know what's going on. So just keep your notifications on. That's all I can tell you for right now. And stay tuned on Instagram too. Like usually that's the fastest way that I give you guys updates. So follow me on Instagram at AV7official. All my handles are below if you haven't seen them already. But Adam, thank you so much for the super, and it was great talking to you. Shout out to Audrey with 199. She says, next, Medea will show up. Yeah, you never know. There's so much happening in this case. Like, you never know who's going to pop in, who's going to pop out. If Lil Woody's going to do something crazy, he's still sworn in. I wonder if Woody is going to break his silence on this. I wonder. Got an eye on him. Shout out to Salty Balls with the $4.99. He said Woody equals short bus shorty 2024. Not the short bus. Not the short bus. I'm so done. Salty Balls gets us all the time. Thank you so much, Salty. Shout out to Mike in 10. Mike in Tennessee drops $20. And Mike in 10, I wish we got you last week when you came up to lead stream. I saw you in the back. And I was just like, oh, it would have been so great to talk to Mike. So please come up next time when we're on lead side. It'd be so great to talk to you and thank you in person for all your generosity. Mike has a question. He says, what does AV to the 7th stand for? Thank you. Thanks for all the wonderful coverage on this case. Anytime, I'm happy to help. So AV to the 7th stand for. Okay, here's the history behind my name. Never intended to be a YouTuber, guys. Never intended at all. Like, in fact, I disdained social media for many years. Okay. And when I found Lead Space, like, I was one of you guys. I was a viewer. I was a law student, like, fascinated with him covering trials and cases. And, I think for a while he was looking for a co-host. And then one day, I was, leaving him super chats. I told you guys about my mistake before. So it kind of led to me being one of the folks in the chat that was, always there, always supporting. And then one day he wanted to thank me. So I came up on the panel and the chat just loved me. And they were like, hey, do you want to stick around? And Lead was just like, we got closer, and every other week he would have me on. Then we did Johnny Depp trial and he wanted me there every day. And then that's just how I became a content creator. It was kind of by accident, and I was studying at the time. I think I was finishing up one of my very last classes of law school. Oh, this is what it was. I was taking family law that semester. So I was super interested in his insights, right? Because I was like, is there anything I could use on an essay, because he was a family law attorney for a really long time, 20 years. To answer your question, at the time, I didn't have a channel. So everyone's like, AV, start a channel. And then they're like, can anybody find you? I was just like, well, I have an Instagram account, but I don't use it. And at the time, my username was AV to the 7th power, and I just never changed it because I was a nerd. I did like math for some time, and, like that exponent 7. I wanted to be geeky. So that was like my Instagram username, and it just became my YouTube username, and it just stuck. That's the history behind the name. So I hope that answers the question, Mike. And hopefully we see you soon on Lead Side. Thanks again, Mike. Shout out to Salty Balls back again with the $9.99. He says, BBL Woody. BBL Woody. Oh my God. BBL Woody. Woody, yay, yay. I don't know. Salty be having me read these crazy ass super chats. And he got me again. Gots to be more careful. Thank you so much, Salty Balls. Shout out to Keena with $10. Keena says, AV, play and react to the interview with Kayla Bumpus from Talk That Law. Starts at 57:48. Oh no, Keena, I wish I had time. Here's what I'll do, Keena, because I do have to run. I do need to record a few videos tonight just for you. I will record my reaction to that. 57:48. I'm writing it down. I'll do a reaction video to it. So that way you guys have it and you can see my reaction to Kayla. She is supposed to be joining us next week on Lead Stream. So I'm going to exercise some caution with that because, of course, you know, she's going to be a guest on the show. But I will look at it. Talk That Law is a brother to the channel anyway, because he kind of came up and lead space, you know, like I remember he used to bless both of us and send like really large cash apps and super chats and things of the like. And then, you know, he started his YouTube channel. He's a lawyer down in, I think, Texas. So to see his growth so rapidly, and I don't even know how he got Kayla on the show, but I will definitely take a look at it, Keena. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, sis. Shout out to the Musical Web with $9.99 and says, my first super. Thank you for continuing to provide us with great content. Stay encouraged. The Musical Web, thank you. That is very, very sweet. And I'm happy that I'm one of your first super chatted content creators. I really appreciate seeing that. And, you know, I know what it's like because the name pops up and you get a chance to do all that for the first time. So I'm happy I was your first. I'm really happy I was your first. And I'll definitely stay encouraged. Whenever I spend time with you guys, like this is fun. You know, it keeps me going so I can continue thinking about how to bring you great content. Because essentially a creator is like a director. I have to work with my team and bring this vision to life and think about how we're going to frame things in a way. Like even when, you know, we think about streaming, like, you know, I actually really put some thought into this stuff. Like, look, I have like a whole agenda for you. Like I really think about how I'm going to explain things to you guys and make it make sense in a way where it resonates, you know, because we could read the legal mumbo jumbo, but like if I'm just reading a document to you, what value are you going to get out of that, you know? So thank you so much, and definitely will stay encouraged. Shout out to Terica. She says sent $10 and says, hello, AV. Hello, my Terica. I hope you are doing well. The one Lo-Fi, I know she's doing her thing on the content creation side as well. She made a super funny meme, like a Pixar looking meme of me and Lead last week. It was hilarious. I think we showed it on screen. So Terica, I hope you're having a great Friday and enjoying this day. Thank you so much for the super. Shout out to King Lexicon with $1.99. He says, please clip Janice's laugh for the soundboard. She has a good laugh. She has a good laugh. You're too funny. You are too funny. Shout out to Carol, who became a new member. Carol's one of my faves. Welcome to the community, dear Carol. Okay, and I think that does it for supers. Let me come to Cash Apps to make sure we are all up to date over here. Make sure I got you guys. Shout out to Kenji. Kenji sends me $14 and says, thanks for your beautiful breakdown. The shirt is dope as F. Yes, it is. It is. And, you know, that's the thing. I always like to try stuff myself before we sell anything to anybody. If you guys are interested in any What You Mean merch, I wore the shirt yesterday in my video. I wore it yesterday on Lead Stream. I have a link in the description box below. You can check that out and take, you know, see what we have there. We have like a phone holder. There's a water bottle. There's a hat. There is there's a t-shirt. Check it all out. And I'm sure Woody's going to say more stuff. So we're just going to create a trial watching collection. But I'm glad that you like the shirt, Kenji. Shout out to Bill, who sends me $10. No comment, no question, pure love of the game. Thank you so much, Bill. Super sweet of you. Hope you're having a good Friday too. And then lastly, shout out to Mike Harrison with $20. He says a note and the love of the game. Thank you so much, Mike. I hope you are doing well and having a great start to your Friday, and that you will have a great weekend. All right, we're going to go ahead and start to wrap up. Before we do, I see one of my other favorite people in the chat. Papa V is here, and Papa V has a question. He says, do you think the Supreme Court will back Judge Glanville and advise him to medically retire versus getting stepped on? That is a good question, Papa V. This is why I love Papa V's comments. I love his comments and his questions because it's very thought-provoking, but that's a possibility. They could. Judge Glanville has been around for a really long time. He's been around for a really long time. He has served in, I think it's somebody told me it was the National Guard, but he still served the country. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure he's got some retirement benefits. It might be time. They could pressure him to do that. They really could. So Papa V, what a great observation. And we will see what happens. I think it's a possibility, to answer your question. I do think it is a possibility, but we will see, because this is really about the conduct. And that's what I loved that Tate put in his affidavit, is that it's not about his rulings. This is about his conduct. That's a very different ball game. So we will see what happens there. Going to Ari Nicole, another one of my faves. I haven't seen you in so long. I know you've been commenting and I've been meaning to catch you. So I'm happy I caught you here. She says, I didn't know Woody told a lady that she stunk and to back up. Yes. So if you go 2 videos ago, I did a recap with Lead. It's about an hour and a half long, and I've beautifully put timestamps. You guys know I'm organized. I organized it for you by day. I think it was day 3. If you go back to Wednesday, Woody coughed and said, "Get back." I did not catch the "you stink" or "she stinks." So I did not physically hear that myself, but the "get back," I've seen that personally. I saw that clip and it's in the recap. So check it out, Ari. But yes, that happened. Shout out to Janelle with the $20. She says, "AV, you are killing it. Keep up the good work." Thank you so much, Janelle. Another one of my favorites. There's just so many cool people in this community, and y'all keep us going. You really do. You have no idea how much you keep us going. Like last night, went to bed at 1 o'clock, barely got any sleep, moved this week, been on a plane, have been streaming. Monday I did 10 hours with Lead. 10. And I started the stream, packed up everything, came up here, still need to study this weekend for bar exam boot camp. I'm working really hard. So when I see this acknowledgement for that work, you guys just, I can't even explain how much that means to me. So thank you so much. Temper for a little bit, Ari, not permanently, but yeah, I needed to come back up here. My school is being annoying because I went to law school in Massachusetts. They are forcing me to take this course up here in person. So I have to do it. I don't want to, but I have to do it. So it's annoying. But in the meantime, I'll be hanging out with y'all. So thank you so much, Ari. Okay, I think that's all I have. I want you guys to have an excellent weekend. Make sure your notifications are set to all, please, because that's the only way you're going to know that I'm streaming or Lead streaming. Okay. And because we are not on a daily schedule, you're going to want to make sure that you stay informed. And one more snuck in, and that is the one Lo-Fi too, with the $10. She says, glad you like them. I'm live. Join me afterwards. Yes, guys, please check out Terica's channel. She does lo-fi beats. So if you're doing laundry, mowing the lawn, working, and you just want to listen to chill music, check her out. I will drop the link to her channel in the comment section after this video. So if you're looking for her, you can find her username there, and you can find her in the comment section. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.